think we did set it up.
No.
No, the hut wasn't set up yet. You had just gotten inside, and I think you closed the bars, and that's where we left off.
We did. We thought about taking a long rest without the hut. Because we can't set it up. And I think Lou said that we would know that we couldn't dispel the anti-magic.
Yeah, so you don't think you can get rid of it, though there might be areas around it that aren't anti-magic, but yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that Theo said he wasn't going anywhere near that anti-magic. And I said, well, we could just hide at the end of the corridor here. Just, lay low, be quiet, try to get a long rest in without that.
Just
Can you
laying
figure
low.
out how thick a wall is without, like, seeing it from its side?
Knocking on it or something?
I was thinking maybe knock on it like a watermelon.
I don't think so. I think that'll just tell you how porous it is. I mean, I think it'll tell you how thick it is up to a certain extent. Like it might tell you like, 1 to 6 inches, but beyond that, I think it's all going to sound the same.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It's a situation of, if this wall is not more than 2 feet thick, might have a workaround.
Well, I think, Beldani, you were scribe last time, right?
I was indeed.
And I think, Ivor, you would be scribe this week, as long as you're okay with that.
Oh yeah.
And Zalia is going to be scribe next week. Are we ready to do a recap, or do we want to wait a little bit?
Do we want to wait for Miri? She said she was running a little. Since she wasn't here, she'd need the recap more than anyone.
Don't
Oh
worry,
yeah, she was not here. That's right. Maybe we'll wait till like 6:45 or something like that. Or
Maybe, yeah, I was going to say maybe wait another 5 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah. That's
We can wait a little bit. I'll pour my Diet Coke.
That will give me time to finish my dinner.
that will give me time to chug a beer and get into character.
To recover from last night.
How do you think it went, Lou? That was the first time I had ever had an experience like that, and I was nervous that I was going to be encroaching on a situation where players wouldn't have a good time. But Kay, I guess, he seemed pretty on board with the whole exchange.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's okay with it.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he was
I
fine
think
with it.
Yeah, he was playing into it pretty well. So
But yeah, I mean, it kind of, whenever there's kind of a PvP situation, it really depends on both groups.
yeah,
How they're feeling. Like if the characters, if it makes sense and they're both okay with it, then it was a little bit weird because I wasn't sure how everyone was feeling about it. But at the same time, like he was going pretty aggressive with his stance.
yeah. I felt it was very organic. It just sort of all happened the way that it happened.
Yeah, no, I mean, it seemed like everyone had a good time, and that's what's important.
Yep.
Did we douse the lights? Is that why I can't see anything?
No.
Maybe I need to reload.
Well, I can't speak to whether or not there are any light sources. Is it just pitch black for you, or just grayed out?
It's great.
Try moving your token.
We are on the side of the map. Make sure you found us.
If you move your
Yeah.
token, it'll usually fix it. That's a bug. If there's no light. Or I should say if there's light and you just can't see.
I can see them. Nope. I think I just doused my light.
Alright, well, you could always pull it back on if you can cast the light spell.
Yeah, I have my ring. Looks like Miu's here, so we can do our recap if she can hear us.
Hi, sorry about that, guys.
You're good.
Hello.
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 Alright, yeah, why don't we have Beldani do a quick recap?
All right. So, we start off still exploring the catacombs. In the exploration, I triggered a ceiling block trap, but managed to get out of the way. Disarm the trap. We encounter some orc cultists of Orcus, and Donnie still is still in the seeming from the professor. Talks to them, asking them if they've seen anything, and if they had reported back in. They seem confused by that, but say they have not spotted the intruders or the Bodak, and have not seen our leader since the ceremony. Continuing, we find a strange alcove, which looks like someone has been trying to dig through the wall with a pickaxe. Ivor spots something, reaches out to grab it, and none of the rest of us can see it. He claims it's a rock. The professor is unconvinced. We came across a hallway to the south, barred by heavy iron bars with no apparent means of opening them. I used my shadow abilities to teleport to the other side of the hall, the bars in the hall, triggering a plethora of traps, pit traps, fireball explosions, blades, and yet I still somehow managed to avoid them all. But couldn't find a way to disarm them. Theo and Ivor head to an adjacent hallway, hoping to find a door that would lead them to somewhere to disarm these traps, but instead we get ambushed by a group of demons, including a nasty Nabasu. Once they realize that we are not, in fact, demons ourselves, they attack, knocking out the professor and doing some serious damage to Ivor in the process. But Tinder shows some amazing skills both in healing the professor and nearly disintegrating one of the demons. And turns the tide of the fight to us. So we end up finishing them off, and once the battle is over, we continue exploring. I find a door behind some magic runes at the end of the hallway, and hear some sort of creature behind it. I come back to let the professor know what I found. We end up exploring, thanks to Tinder, a hallway to the north where we find a lever that opens the grate. We open the grate, we all pile into that hallway, and have Tinder close the grate behind us, and that's where we left off. We all had the benefit of a short rest thanks to Theo's rope trick, but we're still a ways from a long rest.
Miriam, I said it in chat, but she would be on this side of the wall. I don't know if you can get through. You technically, Betha was on Donnie's shoulder.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can drag myself through. I was assuming, yeah. That's fine. Never mind. I think I answered my own question.
Yeah, so currently our predicament is if any of us take a step other than Beldani, we all might die.
Yeah, it's the 41st of fall, 2:40 p.m. And yes, there are a lot of pressure plates around. So what do you all want to do? Oh, and you might need to change your pat or your pictures to your characters, because I think a bunch of you are your accounts right now. Yeah, there you go.
Anybody have a crowbar? If we can get something proper to pry up one of these plates far enough for Bella or I to get under there, we
I have a
can start
magic
disarming.
sickle.
I sadly do not have a crowbar. I do have a crowbar, actually.
Yes! I remember somebody pulling out a crowbar before.
I'm going to
Do
see.
you want me to pry you to disarm, or you pry me to disarm? I think you should disarm.
Yeah. We'll see if that works. I will gingerly make my way over towards Theo, hand him my crossbow, and see if there's any way for him to pry up one of the pressure plates while I disarm it, or find some way of preventing it from triggering. Does anyone have?
Give me an investigation check as you're looking at the pressure plates for trying to figure out possible weak sources.
Is there any chance I can tap him with guidance?
Yeah. I mean, it's a quick thing, so you can do a
Get the
D4.
All right. So 22.
All right. You find an area of the floor that looks like you could actually pry it up. It's not one of the pressure plates. It's sort of next to one of them.
All right. So I will point that out to Theo and say, "Hey, you should try prying up here, or hand me the crowbar and I'll pry it up. But you probably have better leverage than I do."
Yeah, I'll try and pry it up. Enough for him to slide under. I don't want to just break things off, because that might trigger something else.
All right. So you would pry up the area, and you see some wires that you could possibly disable this trap.
All right. I will go ahead and attempt to disable the trap.
Okay.
Thieves' tools check.
Yes. So, yeah, you are able to disable the trap, and you think the area is safe.
So I will gesture to everyone that the area between the two pits is now safe. And I will make my way back across to make room for everyone else.
I'm gonna float over everybody, and once they're all off my rope, I'm recollecting it in the pittance.
Are we gonna keep trying to do that down toward the bottom of the corridor?
I think so. I don't know what other options we have.
Zoe's gonna sit down. She's feeling a little woozy.
I'm gonna Theo. I'll help you look this time for a plate that we can pry up to try and.
You have way better eyeballs than me. I just have nimble hands.
But you have a better brain than I do.
If you just figure it out.
Okay. All right. So, investigation.
Yes.
See, whenever it comes to the tools, I can hang with you. Whenever it comes to other things,
All
I
right.
don't think I can guidance myself.
So you're looking around. You don't find anything on the first couple of squares, but when you get down to here, you would find something that looks like it can be pried up.
So there's something, I'll point it towards them, that can be pried up, but I can't go there.
All right, I'll take the crowbar. Go ahead and pry it up and see what I see underneath.
Alright, so you pry up the panel, and there are a bunch of wires, probably for several of the traps in this hallway.
All right, I will go ahead and try to investigate or see if I can figure out what trap goes to where or how to disarm them.
So you could probably just use thieves' tools to do them one by one, unless you want to take some time and try to figure out what each wire is for.
I can do the thieves' tools one by one.
Alright, so...
Good luck!
The first one... let's see... Yeah, so you disable the first trap.
Alright.
You would disable the second trap. Yeah, you got the third one.
Good job.
You're halfway through.
Pretty sure Beldani could break into like a god's fortress.
You would actually fail on the fourth one.
Oh crap!
Alright. Does that trigger the trap or... does it just
no,
not
it
disarm
didn't go off. It just didn't disarm it.
Alright, so...
And actually, let me see something. So that trap, you don't know if you can still disable it because the wiring is kind of weird.
Alright, do I know where the, which... Well, I suppose I can figure out which trap it belongs to just by walking around and seeing what I trigger and dodging out of the way of whatever it is, so... I'll go ahead and try and disarm the fifth trap.
Alright. 24. Yeah, that would make that one.
And the last trap?
No, that would not be enough, unfortunately. It's just one off.
Alright.
But yeah, you got all of them except, what was it? 4 and 6.
4 and 6. Alright, I will walk back up. I know, actually, the traps previously covered an area like this, didn't they? I don't know if you can see the rectangle I just drew.
Yeah, it seemed like there were a couple of traps on each one.
Alright, so I'm going to just step out and actually walk, stepping on the pressure plates that I see to see which trap triggers.
Alright, so the first
Fly back up
one,
here.
if you step on the space, the blades would trigger, so that would be a dex save.
Alright.
15 would be... Yeah, let me sort my notes really quick. 15 would actually be short. But I think do you take half damage on a failed save?
Yeah, evasion gives me half damage on a failed
Alright,
save.
so you get kind of nicked by one of the blades, but you mostly dodge it, taking... $11 points of slashing damage as the blades slash out for a moment. Oh, damn it.
Alright, so now stepping here.
That would cause the same blade trap to go off.
Alright.
So I need
Dex
another...
save.
Oof.
Oh,
Well, I have healing potions.
Wow.
Faith is back.
You take 12 points of slashing damage. So same blades get you again. Ah.
Alright, now stepping here.
Mm-hmm.
Is here safe?
Yeah, nothing goes off there.
And here?
That is another blade trap, actually. Shh. So another dex save. Yeah, you're fine. You dodge under it.
Right. Here?
That would set off the same blade trap in the space, which I will actually just mark. So another dex save. Yeah, you dodge that one as well. Shh.
And then I'm assuming these two squares are safe.
Yeah, nothing goes off there.
All right.
So, Theo, can you at the same time be rigging your rope across this other pit so we can get further back in?
I figure I would have been doing that, just didn't want to say things.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about trying to get as far in as we can to get the darkness to
Well,
us cover.
I'm assuming everyone, but myself and Betha can make a jump of 10 feet.
Well, Betha could become a tiny spider or something.
Well, or be thrown across by Donnie.
That's much classier. Let's go with that one. Just toss the old lady.
I don't know if I can
Nobody
jump.
tosses a dwarf.
Long
I
jump
do.
is
Done
your...
it a couple times.
If you move 10 feet on foot and make a standing long jump.
There's not even enough space to make a long jump because you can
Yeah,
only run 5
there's
feet.
not enough space. I can't jump very far. 3 plus your strength modifier. Oh, okay, yeah, I can.
That's
I can
the
carry you over if you want.
3 plus mod is your high jump, and that still requires a running jump though, or a running
Yeah,
start.
you better carry me over.
Yeah, I can float you over with me real quick.
Because I think we can all, if we can just avoid those two 10-foot squares, we should be fine. So I will make my acrobatics check to make my way back around the hallway to clear things.
Okay.
You're gonna carry me over these spikes too?
Somebody else might need to do that. I don't want to get near anti-magic fields.
Beltani, how far does that aura seem to
The
spread?
anti-magic field, I do not know.
I'm gonna cast Dancing Lights and have them move out. I have 4 separate lights. First one move this far, another one 10 feet further, or 5 feet further, then 10 feet, then one going around
It
the
would
corner.
wink out as soon as it got to here.
Yep, nope, that's my end
Right
point.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I imagine the magic field goes up to the first blade.
So basically where Ivor is standing is as far as you can go
With
outside of
magic.
it.
Yeah, it's about 15 feet away, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not walking in there.
When the blade is sprung like this, can it be traversed? Or does it go right back?
Oh, it's not
I think
actually sprung, it went back. I just put it to
It goes
mark the area.
Yep.
Yeah.
How much understanding do I... So I have... Would I have sufficient understanding of anti-magic to know whether or not... Like, say, if there was a creature or an object that had a spell which was affecting its entirety, if any part of that object came into contact with an anti-magic field, would it wink out all the magic that is on them, or only the part? Like, if you were to stick your finger through a wall of it, would it?
Well, it doesn't actually... It suppresses the
dispel.
magic.
Yeah.
So if the magic is continuous, it will just be suppressed as long as you're in the field. Once you exit, the magic returns.
Okay. Well,
Is it
Does that
possible-
mean that our magic weapons are non-magic while we're in the field?
I
Correct.
believe so, yes.
Interesting.
so as Theo recommends that I...
Any
please stay back.
continuous magic effect, yeah.
Yeah. I'll
So like
respond.
Zalia's or like our light stones would be like
Yeah, they would
they
poof
wouldn't
out.
work while we're there, but as soon as we step back out, they will come back.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll say, regrettably, the advantage that I have in flying is a result of magic, and I do not believe that I will be able to help you cross this.
Well,
Wait. Can I ask something?
Donnie yells from across the pit.
So, magic stops. So could this make Dumac shut the fuck up?
for a little while.
I will chuckle out loud. Who knows? I don't ever think that we've seen a sentient weapon in an anti-magic field before. Why don't we do an experiment and find out?
What do you think about that, Dumax?
If it means I don't have to listen to you for 5 minutes, I'm all for it.
Remember, you guys don't hear that.
Does he just take a nap?
Yeah, no, these are the players laughing at it, Greg, because that shit's funny.
Yeah.
Donnie, bring Auntie over here. I've got an idea.
Ring or throw?
Bring.
Okay, hop on.
I'm like Yoda on Luke's back on Dagobah.
Donnie, across the pit you go. Ooh.
Pat, get out of the way.
I float up to the ceiling.
So when they get on this side of the pit, I'm gonna cast Minor Illusion
Alright.
and I'm gonna keep recasting it while a 5 foot. I'm gonna basically look at this wall back here, and I'm gonna cast what I see there, 5 feet from the ground, here.
So you're going to try to make an illusory wall
Yeah,
to hide the
5
group?
feet wide. Yeah, similar to what what's his face did in our other campaign, but he had silent image. This is just going to be minor image, so it'll be smaller and but it should hide everybody who's sitting or under 5 feet, or at least obscure.
Well, I think it's a 5 foot area, so I don't think it can do the whole hallway because the hallway's 10 feet wide, right?
Yeah. I just want to do like 5 feet across 5 feet, like a screen, like a Chinese screen.
Okay. Which square are you doing it on?
I think on Theo's side.
Theo's side? Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, Theo is hidden behind a little 5 by 5 foot wall.
Okay, and then I'm just gonna crouch down where I am and try to like pull my robe around me so that I'm not super obvious. I'm just trying to make it so that if somebody walked by, they wouldn't necessarily immediately spot us.
All right.
While we're figuring out what to do.
Can I knock on this wall and see if I can tell how thick it is?
Feels pretty thick.
Professor, do you think if we were to somehow deface or destroy the symbol, it would end the magic?
You're gonna explode.
I think we asked about this last time, and the answer was no. So
It'll explode.
no,
The
I
magic
don't think so. I think we'd need to find the source of it, or somehow. I mean, what do I know about that, Lou?
So anti-magic. Give me a, I guess, Arcana check.
Disadvantage.
Guidance.
You know that anti-magic is powerful abjuration. As with any magical effect that's continuous, if you were to release it from this symbol, it would probably cause a small explosion of arcane force. Well, it would cause an explosion dependent on how powerful the effect was. And anti-magic is fairly powerful, so it might make a little bit of a dangerous area, at least for an instantaneous as the magic, or instantaneous duration as the magic was released.
Bill, is the glyph on... Crap, never mind. I was going to say put a pit on it if it's on a pillar or something, but it's a magic pit, so it won't work.
Yep.
No, and it's on the floor.
I can't think without magic.
It's separated between the basically where I'm standing is a 5-foot tile between a blade trap and a 20 by 10 pit trap. And it is in the other 5-foot square between those two things.
Would we have a sense of how big an explosion like that might be? Like, is it something that...
Well, anti-magic field is an 8th level spell. This is a continuous effect, so it would probably be, mechanics-wise, probably at least 8d6, maybe more.
I'd like to ask Tinder, in my head, of course, if he would be willing to go around the corner and scout the area out and confirm what is over there, and specifically whether or not there are any of his embers visible to him while this conversation is on.
It says, I cannot see my embers. They are hidden from me. But I can try to teleport over there.
It might be the sort of... It might be the sort of damage that Donnie could withstand if he were healed up going in.
Want me to break something?
Another option would be there is the door behind the runes, and perhaps there's
Want me
some
to break a door?
There's something
Perhaps.
maybe. But I'm wondering. I did hear something in there, but I'm wondering if there's something in there that would allow me to disarm this anti-magic field.
What if there's something in there that the anti-magic field is keeping track?
Question is
well, there are
we've
magic.
released a lot of that.
I was going to say there are magic runes around the door, so the anti-magic field does not reach that far. And I was going to use that to my advantage, as I could turn invisible for a brief while and go into the room unseen.
That might be worth a try. What were you asking, Theo? Sorry about the bag. Pull it out.
No. If these blades, are they still out right now?
No.
Okay.
They're just there to indicate where the trap is.
So, if there are runes around the door, we might want to try and figure out a translation for that first, before we release another undead dragon or Shadowlord, like what has been done in the past. Or if it's not something that dangerous and we just have to fight it, we could lure it back into these blades. Bell has shown he can dance around them, and that monster.
But we can't.
But if Baldani can dance around them, so could something else. I mean, I honestly think Baldani's onto something. If he's able to sneak in.
Indeed. Perhaps it would be worth
this is
having
plan
Baldani
B.
take a peek, see what he can see.
Professor, could you hand me a piece of parchment and a quill?
Certainly.
Ooh, smart.
And so I will dance over here, avoiding the blades, grab the quill and paper, and then make my way back around.
I even give you some ink. Go with the quill.
Dance along this edge to make my way back to this door and try and transcribe the runes that I see around the door to the best of my ability.
Yeah, give me an intelligence check.
And, sorry, are you saying that, were you
crossed.
suggesting Tinder go with Baldani?
Tinder does not want to go past the anti-magic. He said he'll teleport.
Smart.
That is so not fair.
Alright, so you think you got him copied down.
My digital die on D&D Beyond was literally sitting halfway between the 18 and the 5. And it's 5.
It cocked the roll and still gave it to you.
Well, Donnie's like, this looks right. Do. Alright.
All right, Professor. Well, here the runes that I copied. So I don't know what you can make of them.
A lot of these runes look weird to you, Zalia. Though you think it might be some kind of arcane lock? Question mark.
Possible it's some sort of arcane lock. Well, I don't know what this one is. I've never seen anything quite like that before.
I don't think that's our own.
Looks like a marshmallow.
Those are scribbles.
I'm afraid that magic isn't my forte. The few tricks that I have are blessings from my heritage, so...
Oh, never mind, Donnie. It's lovely.
You made some
Uh,
nice
Hold it
art.
up,
Yeah,
put it in
hanging
my
on the
pocket.
refrigerator.
As if I would hang it on the refrigerator. Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes they can be real jerks, can't they, be Beldani?
mm,
I wasn't being sarcastic. I was being quite sincere.
Quite genuine. Well, then,
um,
do you have... I imagine you do not have a way to deal with an arcane lock, then. Is that correct?
unfortunately, I do not.
Well, it seems that
Um,
the only way path is... Or the only way forward
You're
is
saying you
past
think
the
you can
magic.
teleport? Your little guy said that he thought he could teleport over there. Do you think that? Oh, I have no magic. I have no magic. Otherwise, I could.
He would say in your mind, as long as I go at an angle through the wall, I should be able to avoid the anti-magic field.
Very well. Let's get some dimensions.
there's,
Donnie, how long is that hallway?
the hallway from west to east is a total of 10, 20, 30, about 37 feet.
Very well. I'll convey that information to Tinder and
And then the last 10 feet or so of the hallway, there are 15 feet or so north of that hall between the pit and the door. And that is where I'm currently standing. And that should be outside of the magic
anti-magic.
field, anti-magic field.
I will relay these descriptions to Tinder, and if he is willing, request that he do teleport in the way that he's offered.
Can you see how thick the wall is?
He says, "Yeah, I can teleport over there and see if I can do something about the runes." So he is gonna poof, appear over here. I think he's still invisible, but you might hear the indication of magic going off Beldani. And
I'm assuming with my passive perception, I would hear. his
yeah, you'd hear
wings
like
flapping.
a little, like a poof, and maybe some wings flapping, and maybe some little arcane residue from the spell. Were you saying something, Zelia?
Yeah, I was gonna ask him how sealed is that door. She has a sudden idea.
Well, the runes go all around.
No, but I mean, do you still have that potion of gaseous form? Because if you do, perhaps you wouldn't.
Oh, I do.
You could just go under the door.
How?
But then he's out of our reach should he need us.
Well, he's just
Or-
going
or-
into scope down. He just wants
And
to
I would be in gaseous form anyway, so I would be unable to be really.
Could be affected.
But also
affected,
unable to
but-
let us in if you decide to.
I can always.
I think gaseous form gives you damage resistance, not
He
immunity.
just wants to see what's on the other side of it.
I see.
That's true. But I think Tinder was saying something or doing something.
Yes.
Oh, so yeah, he would appear over there. He would take a look at the symbols. Say, I think I can try to dispel this, but I only have one shot. You would hear him say in your mind.
Incidentally, how are you feeling after our short rest from this afternoon? Are you more or less recovered, or do you require more time to recuperate? This is the thing that I've been curious.
I've only recovered some of my power, not very much.
Some, but not all. Very interesting. Well then, let me put it to the group and see what they suggest. I would err on, let's give it a go. And I'll turn to the group and say, Tinder thinks that he can perhaps dispel the magic on the door, but it does not solve our issue of the glyph on the ground. Shall he give it a shot?
No. I mean,
Oh.
yes, but not right away. I think that we should know what's on the other side of that. Having once freed a dragon, which seems to have put us in
And
our
a
current
Shadowlord.
predicament, and a Shadowlord, unwittingly, I think we should have a little more intel about what's on the other side of the door before we do.
Indeed,
Friendly.
that seems prudent. I'll respond to Tinder and I'll say, we're considering it, but let's wait just a moment. I think there are plans to have Beldani mist through the door in some fashion and see what awaits us on the other side before we decide to open the thing. Apparently, these people have let some things out in the past that they wish they had not.
As
So-
you talk to the thing you let out.
You shut your whore mouth.
How dare you?
I said good day.
I said good day, sir.
Good day.
Good day.
Just taking a look at the door, does it look like there are any gaps, cracks? I mean, I can. Gaseous
Yeah, and you
form.
actually see what looks like some light coming from the room now that you didn't see before, and the shadow moving around within.
All right. Well, I pull a little vial out of my bag of this.
Have you tried to touch the door yet? I forget.
I have not tried to touch the door yet.
Okay.
That's not.
That's not on.
And now Beldani rethinks the strategy.
I'm gonna take a swig of this pearly white liquid and turn into gaseous form.
Alright, so you suddenly melt into a cloud.
And now I'm going to attempt to fly
The door
my
has an
way.
anti-gaseous field on it.
Attempt to fly my way through the door into the room.
For some strange reason, it seems like you cannot cross the runes on the floor.
All right. So you guys suddenly see
Just mist going along the
cloud
floor.
of mist that
Can you
starts
talk?
dancing back and forth. No, I can't.
What's
I
it
cannot.
like?
On that side? Oh no.
Did you go through the wall?
I thought you were going to take it on the other side of the room.
Yeah, I thought you were going like.
Oh,
through here
actually,
to avoid the anti-mag.
actually, as soon
Yeah.
as you get to this area, you would be in
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I
regular
would.
form again.
that's why I thought that you were doing the wall thing.
But if you move away, you turn back to gaseous form, I believe.
Nice.
Let me just double check that though.
Can you do walls with that, or can you? I thought you could only go through like spaces. I don't think you can actually go through a fucking
Question.
solid wall.
You can
I'm
go
pretty-
through even mere cracks. It says.
Yeah.
Now, with that, I'm 99.99% sure out of every artisan tool that exists, there is the equivalent of a drill that can go into stone, like a hand crank, something to where I could put a small hole into the wall
Yeah.
over here.
So
let
basically, yeah, when you enter the anti-magic field, you would turn regular Beldani again, but when you left it, you'd become gaseous.
Oh, then you can talk to us from over there and then still go back to gaseous form.
How long does
Indeed.
gaseous form potion last?
1 hour, I
Okay.
believe. Let me just.
Small.
Yep,
So,
1 hour.
If you were to drill it, it would only let him fill the space that the drill occupies, unless the hole goes all the way through the wall.
Yeah, I think that's the idea, is to go.
So, turning back from gaseous form, I would dance back over here and
All right.
say, the runes are blocking me from entering the room. I heard you, Theo, talking about something about drilling a hole in the wall. I think the hole would need to be at least 10 feet deep. So
This wall's 10 feet?
it looks like it could be at 10 feet for sure.
I mean, That seems quite consistent with the width of all the other walls in this place. I don't think we've seen one yet that is less than 5.
It has
So-
lasted at least a cycle, so yeah, it has to be built to
I find it
last.
hard. I find it
It-
hard to believe that someone would go to all the trouble to ruin the door and not make it possible, and keep it possible for someone to drill a hole through the
But
wall.
Zalia's been making a map,
agree.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let me have a look at that map, Zalia. Veta would point out that the room where we spoke with Corvus might be connected to this hallway as well if we're going to be drilling through walls.
Yeah, but even that's like 5 fucking feet.
Yeah.
There's no way you can drill through that with a hand crank.
Yeah, it would take a little while.
One possibility is I could still use my gaseous form to enter the room and check it out, but we would need Tinder to dispel the runes before I could do so.
I'm quite nervous to do that. There was another time we were able to just open the door, even though I mean, I know you're gaseous at the moment, but
This
Well,
He's actually normal because he's in the anti-magic field.
anti-magic field.
right.
Yeah, but he would be. Yeah.
He would
Yes.
be.
Well, it's worth a shot. Perhaps it would be
The thing
worth
is, we can't
jiggling
simply
the handle.
open the door because I can't get past the runes. The runes themselves seem to be almost like a
They
a
wouldn't
wall
let
of
you go
force
past-
or
When you were in non-gaseous form? In other words, when there was no magic.
It may just be blocking your form.
I did not try the door while I was in my normal form.
Are you
Well,
able
what I'm
to?
thinking of is the door that we saw at the lab. Do you remember? They wouldn't let you cross the threshold because of the runes, but you could see in.
Do we have a way of getting see across these blades?
Not without some difficulty. Is it clear? Do the blades come from only one side?
They
Is it-
come from several areas of the wall. They slash out.
Oh, I was about to say, if it's like one big blade or something that slashes out, could I take damage and try and catch the blade temporarily with my armor and let her run past?
Or you walk it across at the same time and take it in the back or something. But if it's coming from both sides, I don't know if that would work.
That
You could try to
Which
jump
one?
over. It's
Series
10
of the
10
things.
feet.
Donnie smashing it would be the easiest way. We just don't want to accidentally break the only thing holding another Shadowlord back.
Well,
Right.
there is a gap between the pressure plates here. If you want to, you could jump it.
Look, one thing we could do is douse our
Oh.
lights and get a
I didn't even
rest.
consider that.
Hazy, think you can jump across?
That's a bit of a jump.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a bit of a jump for me. Jesus. That's with a fucking head
Or
start.
potentially Donnie start doing some hops while carrying
Oh.
Z.
Is it at this end of the hallway, Lou? Like, do we feel like when we were out at the outside the bars, could we see this far back?
Well,
Like
how far back
in
is
the
this?
It is 40 feet.
You probably couldn't have.
So yeah, it would more depend on your dark vision.
I would say. Well, are you asking this question out loud, or is this just a thought?
I'm musing out loud, yes.
I would say that the average creature that can see in the dark could probably see us from here. Yes.
We were able to get around the corner. We could possibly take a long rest.
Indeed.
And once we had our magic, I could prepare a knock or something like that would undo the arcane lock, but only for an instant, and then it would take effect again.
That may be all the time that we need, and actually that's not a bad suggestion, because if we knock and find that we do not like what we find, then we have the option of leaving, and the magic sustains itself.
Precisely.
Very well, perhaps we just ought to attempt crossing this gap.
If he can't cross the runes in gaseous form, it's possible we can't cross them in any form.
It's possible, but we don't know for sure. Actually, at this question, I'll ask Tinder if he is able to approach the door, or if he is prevented from doing so. Because I don't think he is. Well, I don't know for sure, but I don't assume that he's under the effect of any spells right now.
He would say to give him a moment, and you would hear him say, "The field seems to be blocking me as well."
Well, I'll pull out the page again that Baldani drew, and I'll squint at it for a really long time, and then I'll say, it's possible there's more than one magical effect on the door. This one here looks like it could be an arcane lock, as Tinder said, but there might be something else there. Because arcane lock shouldn't block you from approaching it.
Yeah, you've told me that at the Alcavian Labs, there's that sigil in front of a door that prevents Fae and demons and stuff from crossing.
Yes, indeed. And we have a Fae and a demon trying to get in, so until we can get eyes on it, I don't think we need to rest. I think that should be our priority, but we need to do so in a safe place. Could we have another go at these blades, perhaps, and see if we could disarm them again? Such a good job with the others.
If not, I think that our best chance is to simply cross them.
Agreed.
It will not feel good, but it will not kill us.
Oh, this is as far as I can go. I'm not going in the anti-magic field.
Theo,
It's as far as you
ridiculous.
choose to go.
If your arm falls off, we'll pick it up and put it back on.
And if you become stupid, well, then it'll be like nothing's changed.
Look, all you have to do is walk to the other side of it. There's obviously a pocket over there where it's working again, so you're not going to start drooling and stop and fall on the floor in a fit.
So Ivor is.
Well,
Ivor. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I will lose the arm and go dumb, and also barely be able to move because my armor weighs too much.
You'll be fine.
You'll simply
I
have to
can
walk
carry you
slow.
like a child.
Like
No.
Yoda and Yoda
No,
and-
I will jump into the pit rather than be carried by dog.
Theo, you're not going to give us all away because you're too vain to cross 20 feet of space.
I am stealthier than everybody here except for Beldani.
Sure you are, champ.
While all this discussion is going on, I'm going to go back into gaseous form, and since I might as well take advantage of it, I'm going to head down into the pit here and see if there's anything at the bottom.
Oh.
So, can you float back up?
I have a flying speed of 10 feet.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So I can move up and down as I see fit, just only slowly.
So it looks like the pit goes down about, like the others, only about 30 or so feet, but like the others, there are spikes at the bottom. You take a quick look around. Give me a D20 roll. Perception.
Oh, a perception check?
Yeah, sorry.
Theo, you got any lumber in those pockets of yours?
I got a ladder and a boat. And a door, I thought I had a door, but apparently I don't have a door.
Actually, a door would be useful. We could lay it on top of the spikes, and then there's a safe space for someone to sit out of view of the end of the hallway.
I can make, with all the rope I have on me, I can make a net going across these holes.
Have a little hammocks down in the pits
So
for us to rest.
you take a look around down here, but it doesn't seem like there's anything down here besides spikes.
All right.
You know what? Thanks for the idea, Betha. I think I'm going to go down in one of these holes and make a little, net to hold me instead of going across the anti-magic field.
Make a little hammock in the pit.
Yep.
Theo's taken a vacation.
Theo's crocheting while we
I'm just going to
puzzle out
float
what we
down
do.
this hole and start making a little hammock for myself.
So you take
That
like
basket
your
weaving class
rope
comes
and
back to you.
pitons and you start, I guess, draping the rope back and forth or something. I don't know.
also got a 2-person tent on me too, so I can use that to actually lay out. And yeah, I can make a hammock down here.
All right. Beldani would return a little while later.
Yes. I checked the pit. Nothing of value. I might as well check these 2 pits as well. Not waste my gaseous form.
Oh, is there another pit around the corner?
Yes.
Ah.
Basically, the end of the east-west hallway is a 10-foot by 30-foot pit.
This, like the corner?
In this corner,
Okay.
yes.
All right. 10 foot by 30. Oh, wow. Okay.
I suggest that once the gaseous, we have one more try at disarming the blades. And then,
Well, I mean, he could do that now. It's just he doesn't think he's going to be able to at this point.
Yeah, I think my failure has made it so that they cannot be disarmed.
Yeah.
He like accidentally soldered some wires together that are shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
should we just try running through then? Could we jam it with the crowbar or something?
Could you use Tinker Tools to try and reset it so that
Well,
the can try again?
I mean, presumably, if you, I mean, I will. Professor, do you have any chalk?
Chalk.
Yes, I do.
Oh, she's got it. So.
So if you're up there, you're a gaseous cloud again.
Yeah, I'll step back so that I
Sure.
can speak.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Actually, Theo, could you throw me over the blades?
Donnie probably can. I'm really not that strong.
Well, what I mean is, could you lift me up with your boots and then just sort of push me over so that I land on the other side?
Could try that.
Let's
I
go
was going
this
to say I'll take the chalk from the professor and I will draw outlines on the floor of all the places where I see the pressure plates.
Yeah. I mean, so they can kind of see if you just point them out. The trick is just the acrobatics to balance.
So
At this point, I would say there's nothing to it but to do it.
Yeah.
I'm making a hammock.
So you could, like I said, you could try to jump the pressure plates. It would be at least a 10-foot jump. Or you could use acrobatics to try to balance between them like Beldani's doing. And he's pointed out kind of where they are, so you would just have to carefully balance.
Acrobatics for athletics?
Yeah, basically, to get across.
Theo's head's gonna float back up above the pit real quick. Hey, Ivor, will you come down here real quick?
I don't see why
Float
not.
back down.
The flying people.
Yeah!
So a 10-foot running jump. So if I were to start back here and jump, could I get my strength plus, what is it?
No, it's just your strength score in feet.
You'd have to start like at the very edge of the pit where Beta is.
Yep.
Yeah, I can do it. I would have 8 feet.
Yeah, so you'd land at the edge, then you'd have to make a dex save and you could run over. Or you could use acrobatics to try to balance.
I'm gonna give acrobatics a check.
But remember, you are at disadvantage right now.
Can I give her guidance?
Yeah, you can give her guidance.
So just as she like kind of gets in position to sprint, Beta will poke her with a finger and guidance her.
Alright, so you have plus 1d4, but you are at disadvantage as you attempt to run across the first blades.
you can do it, Professor.
Float back up and look at her real quick just in case.
Alright, I'm gonna use DM's inspiration
Alright,
to make it a straight roll.
You psych yourself up, and you go jumping.
Beautiful.
And yes, you would make it across the first 10 feet without any issue.
Love it.
Okay.
And at this point, could I help her sort of around this corner? I know technically in movement you can't cut the corners, but if she hugs the corner, I'm assuming she would not trigger
If
any.
if I go catty corner, wouldn't it be just a 5-foot jump?
The only problem is, I'm assuming you didn't actually step back there.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Alright, yeah, the only problem is I think, well, I guess you could run from there and, like, do a jump that way. Yeah, that's probably fine. So you kind of jump 8 feet across the corner there, and land on this side.
And now, you, Professor, you should be able to see the anti-magic rune.
I'm going to pull my ring out.
It won't work.
Yeah, there's no light here because of the
So
anti-magic.
I will pull out, seeing the professor pull out her ring and nothing happened.
Not really moving and just trying to get the light. Okay.
I will pull out my ignite and light it up and open the hood. So.
Alright, so you light up your lantern, producing fire, which will indeed function here, because technically not magical. Unless you're a caveman. So, yeah, the lantern would light up this area. And what are you trying to do?
Oh, I'm just lighting up the area so the professor can see the rune.
I don't know if she could see them from here because of the corner.
No, not the
the rune on the floor. Yeah, no, you could see that one.
But it doesn't say anything that I didn't already know, right?
No, I mean, it just looks like some kind of force for holding magic, probably made by one of, maybe one of the rune masters or some magic user who just created a permanent magical effect on this area.
Okay. So can I get to the door across this big pit?
You'd probably have to balance on the side, because there is kind of a little walkway there at the edge. It'd be an acrobatics check.
Can Baldani hold my hand so that I can get across?
Hang on, Professor. I'm thinking maybe what I can do is, if I can get a rope and some pitons from Theo, I can set up a rope, so that might help you navigate across better. So hold on just a moment. So I'm going to hand my lantern to the professor. Head back here.
Are the rest of you coming?
And ask Theo, can I have some rope and some spikes, please?
How much of each?
Just one length of rope and 2 or 3 spikes ought to do it.
Alright, 50 feet of rope. I'll give you 4 pittons, just in case you want to double up on things.
Alright.
Alright, so you get those, and you're trying to set up some kind of...
Yeah, I want to try and
make sure to pick it back up.
A rope across here, across this pit, so that it can help the professor and everyone else as they try and navigate along the side.
So
okay, so the pit is now visible to me, and it wasn't before. Is that interesting? Or is it because Zalia? Well, no, Beldani had already been down there, so.
There wasn't any light though, Beldani could see in the dark.
Oh, maybe that's the difference. It's still shadowed to me because I haven't seen it yet, or because I'm not in view of it. But yeah, I can see the pit now. It is a huge pit.
Wait, well, if you can see the pit,
I can see it all.
I think that you have vision on Beldani's token, presumably from.
No, it's not lit up. It's not lit up. It's like something that's been revealed to me in the past, but it wasn't there a few minutes ago. It wasn't there until Beldani and Zalia were messing around over there.
If it's not pitch black, I would assume that you have access to vision from a time that you commandeered somebody's token or something.
All right. Well, I'm not actively seeing through their tokens because I can't actually see them, but I see the grayscale pit. Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe because of where you were standing before. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
A question for you, Lou. So how tall is the ceiling in here?
It's not very tall, only about 10 feet.
Okay. If I were occupying the upper 5 feet of it due to flight, and then attempted to fly into the the anti-magic field, where I assume my flight would stop functioning, would I have sufficient velocity to assist in the traversing of this trap? Or would it not matter?
You trying to, like, momentum, you mean?
Yes, yeah, more or less. Like if I was moving that direction anyway, and then I suddenly lost flight, I don't want to assume that I would clear the whole 10 feet, but I'm wondering if it would make it any easier.
You could try it.
Okay.
Give me an intelligence check. Do mathematical equations in your mind. It would be close, because you would immediately lose all forward, like, thrusting from the magic, so you'd have to just kind of rely on what was carrying you, and there would be resistance from the air and everything.
Sure.
Fast.
Well then, okay.
What's your flight speed? 30?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that fast. So yeah, it's...
Can you dash?
I'm not trying to get too squirrely with it. Okay. I'd like to ask Tinder if he can do me a favor.
Yeah.
Can you tell the professor that I wish that we had had a chance to speak before we encountered this field. That's all.
Oh.
You scared to come over.
So
You can't hear any of this shit.
he says, how do you want me to tell her? Telepathically?
In her mind, if you could.
He says, well, she's in the anti-magic field, so I can't actually tell her right now.
Are you able to...
Trying to get out of it, though.
Perhaps then flying over on her shoulder and telling her that way might be all that we can do.
He says, wait, you want me to fly into the anti-magic field?
I forget that that's not something that you wish to do. Never mind.
He says, I wish to avoid that, at least right now.
Very well. I will then attempt to do the flying engine's failure over the
Crash
blade.
land.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I'm not looking in your direction. Makes you feel any. I'm trying to get
so you take off flying, and yep, you're flying in at full speed. As soon as you hit it, you feel yourself kind of go, oh, as you lose your flight. Give me an acrobatics check as you try to maneuver yourself. Alright, so you do like a cool little fly through the air, hitting the floor here and rolling just right as not to take any damage. Looking really cool.
And I would assume at this point that any sort of... Oh, fuck, that pit is so close.
And yes, you would all notice that Ivor looks different.
I would not. I'm looking around the corner.
Alright, so the others might notice Ivor looks different. What do you look like, Ivor? Do you have a picture that you want to show?
I do have a picture. I'm not sure if I can broadcast it in the same way that you can, but I think that I might have sent it to you at one point. Let me... Oh, I can just send it again. Oh, I could do it through Discord.
Oh, the Twitch chat deserves to see this too.
That's right. Can I upload to Twitch? Well, or not to Twitch, but to Roll20.
I think... No, but I think you can link it in Discord.
Okay.
In the main chat. That might be the move here.
Very well.
If it's on a website somewhere, you can also post it to Roll20 chat by...
I guess if you have a web link, you could do it that way.
Yeah, it's like bracket, the word image, end bracket, and then a parenthesis, and the URL, close parenthesis.
Yeah. I tried to do it, but
So yeah, his skin kind of suddenly looks very ashen, and he has very large horns coming out of his head.
His eyes are creepy, but I wouldn't see his eyes, I guess. I guess I just see him from behind.
Yep.
Big old mane of hair.
Yep. Very long, very proud and braided, like fiery red hair. Some great big long horns. I would say probably longer than any other horned creature that I've met before. With some golden bands around them and a long black coat of some kind, embroidered with some sort of geometry. Wearing also some fairly nice black leather pants and boots, but no
Do you
shirt.
have the same
of any kind.
features as you have in your human guys?
What do you mean?
Like your facial features, would you be?
Is there stuff in your face and eyes that like, is kind of recognizable, even though you look so different in other ways?
No.
Like it's still you. Okay.
No, I would say that well, here, let me zoom in on Ibra. Ooh. No, not much of a correlation at all, really.
Okay, here we go. So Z is gonna turn around to see who's coming, scream, and probably fall in the pit.
Oh god!
Can I use my reaction to move and grab? Oh fuck, I'm gonna get hit by this fucking thing.
Do you want to try to run across the trap? Or you?
Yep.
Alright, give me a dex save as you attempt to run up and grab her.
Do I have...
I mean, I don't know if I want to be grabbed.
He's been in that
the
form for a
difference is
total of
that-
2 seconds and already has one fallen for him.
The difference is that Theo and Betha and Donnie like had kind of the
Right.
chance to see Ivor change when he entered the field, whereas Zalia had her back turned and turned around, and then there's this creature behind her. So you can kind of understand why
thing
she's
where we're
like,
fighting a bunch of demons.
Alright, so you get cut up a bit as you run through the trap, and I'm guessing you're going to try to do like a grapple on Zalia as
You
she's
better
backing
try
up.
to do a grapple, yeah, because
So give me an athletics check, and Zalia you can oppose with acrobatics or athletics, but you are at disadvantage.
oh my god, why? Oh, good, because
Holy
one
shit.
time.
Wait, was that your disadvantage roll?
No, that is thankfully.
Alright, so she
Oh,
luckily
man,
is very tired and is like, trying to push you off her as you kind of run up next to her, grabbing her, and I
Oh my
assume
God.
you're going to say something to her.
Did
Or
he
wait,
get me? He rolled
Satan
a
Inferno!
rolling a 4, no, actually, I don't think that would grab her then. So, yeah, you both, she kind of pushes away from you, and are you actually going to try to jump in the pit, Zalia?
I wasn't jumping in the pit. I just thought I might
was
fall in the
startled.
pit.
she turned
Oh.
around, saw a creature she wasn't expecting.
No,
and probably
there's
took a step
there's
backwards.
enough room there that you wouldn't necessarily fall in unless you actually jump in. So you
No, I'm not.
could back up like looking very freaked out by him.
Also, Bonnie's been putting up rope and pittance, so there might be something right at the edge she could grab onto on the wall and stuff.
Yeah, and Ivor, you did take 27 from that trap.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Like
So Betha's gonna turn back to Donnie and just make a harumph noise, like she's pretty unconcerned about what she just saw Ivor do. And then,
here's
You're like,
Zalia
"Alright, so-
screaming over there.
yeah,
She's
you
so
crossing?
screaming.
What do you want to do, Donnie? shall I get on your back again? Since I can't stay in animal form in this thing, presumably.
Sure. Ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Alright, so as they're jumping across,
Become backpack Yoda again.
what are you saying to her, Zalia? Or Ivor?
That's a good question. There's so many ways that I wish that this would have gone, and it wasn't this. I'll say
Do I need to smash him?
this is as I was sort of grabbing her, so I don't think you're quite yet.
Yeah,
not far
you're
behind.
probably on your way here at this point, so maybe you're kind of
Yeah.
In a second, you'll be hearing that.
I'm just gonna say, it's okay, Professor. It's Iva, even though I know I don't look it.
Is your voice the same?
Yes.
Yeah, she's just gonna stare at you and like blink a lot. I, I, I don't understand. Did you? I thought it was an anti-magic field.
Indeed. Indeed there is.
Okay, she's like light as dawning. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
About now, Donnie comes jumping across with Betha.
The fuck is that?
Should I smash him?
No. I think it's right.
Kind of looks like he needs smashing.
He may need smashing at some point, but let's get through this, shall we?
Can I smash the little shit on his shoulder? Wait, no, the little demon's not with you, is he?
No.
Okay.
So Beldani, you would just hear his hammering in the pitons, ding, 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 making a little bit of noise. But it looks like he has set up the rope crossing at this point.
Okay, so Zelia's gonna post haste cross.
You take the lantern and get over.
I will.
She's like pretty visibly trying to get away from Ivor at this point too, so there's that.
Kind of freaking everyone out, man.
It cackles and she's gonna go ahead and come off Donnie's back and use the rope and puttons after Zalia.
I like how Betha just takes it in her stride.
She's like, I've seen that shit before.
She probably has it, but she's trying to pretend that it's all fake. But yeah,
That and the only other tiefling we've ever seen was a follower of Paylor too. So.
Well, and you can kind of see in Donnie's reaction that, like, as a full orc, like, again, he's not a half orc, he's not like partial, he's like full orc and battle warrior. Like, you can kind of get a sense of like, yeah, some people like us need smashing, others you smash. So as long as you don't tell me you need smashing, I won't smash you.
You sounded like you came from the south for a moment there.
Yeah.
Some people like us need smashing.
There's a little Billy Bob Thornton going on in that what was that film?
Sling Blade?
Sling Blade, yeah.
Some people call it a Counter Blade, I call it a Sling Blade.
Well, I appreciate your candor, Donnie. You are not wrong. Many people do not like this. I'll do my best. Same as I always do.
Ivor, I for one would never judge someone based on their heritage.
I do.
I have faced that. I have faced that myself quite a bit in my years.
I imagine that you would have.
About half the group is weirdo outsiders.
I hope you're all saying that clustered quietly over there while Zelia looks at these runes, because she would not like to be called a bigot.
Yeah, you are running away from him because he looks different than you.
No, I'm running away from him because he lied to me.
Oh yeah, Theo knows that, but he's still gonna.
I think she was very freaked out, surprised by the change. So, Betha, are you balancing on the edge there?
the rope was.
She would around the corner. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she would hold on to the rope.
There we go. So yeah, there is that strange collection of runes across the bottom of the door, and you as well, Zalia, would see there's light coming from the inside.
And what is the radius of that? The anti-magic?
Well, it is not affecting Beldani up there because he is now gaseous again.
I was gonna say I'm back in gaseous form.
Based on where we saw.
If you stepped here, you would be back to your other form. So your illusion would go back up.
Hey Donnie, you crossing those blades again?
Yeah, and I would
He
quietly
goes jumping back.
Yeah.
Oh, he goes back? Okay.
Yep. I would quietly say to you, like, No one's got to know I could carry you across. Little freaky dude over there already transformed, so you ain't got nothing to be scared about.
Whenever you look down in the pit, Theo already has a full hammock made down here and has a blanket over himself. I've already put in all this effort, and I genuinely do. Anti-magic and me, we don't get along. I'm very dependent on my gear, like you've pointed out many times. I'm very dependent on magic. Being disconnected from that, especially with giving up a lot to be connected to it, in that, and I do have metal going through my body that if I go into an anti-magic field will probably be extremely excruciating.
Oh, come on, man. You seen me get hit, but the other thing to know, like, we don't know how far this thing goes. We might not be back here for a little bit. Like, you might have to cross. I'm just saying that, and now nobody's paying attention. So if you cross now with me, ain't nobody gotta know. But if you wait, I'm sorry. I've got
You're
my
stuck in that you're stuck in that like southern accent now. Ain't nobody gotta know if you come with me right now.
I'm infecting you. Infecting you with a southern drawl.
Southern orc.
It's just it's coming now. I can't get out of it. But
honestly,
he'd go on to say, and like, you know, come or not, it's your choice. But you know, tomorrow morning, we might still be on the other side and keep on going. And now you're just kind of alone over here.
Theo pulls out the pittance, puts the whole hammock setup into his bag of holding. He'll fly up next to you. Only takes an action to take off his armor, so get that off, put it into the bag. I could walk on my own, and you would see. Yeah.
Very banged up. Portable hole behave.
What was that, Betha?
Oh, did you bring the portable hole across? Ruh-roh, what was in your portable hole?
A whole fuck ton of gold.
So basically, all right. So let's rewind a bit because this is hilarious. As soon as Betha crosses this area here,
I wasn't carrying the portable hole.
Or who had the?
Oh
no! All right. So. Yeah, that would have happened a while ago then. I apologize, but anything in the portable hole probably would have popped out of it.
What about the bag of holding?
Oh, wait, no, not the portable hole. The portable hole actually is fine, because I think that just connects to an extra-dimensional plane.
Isn't that what the bag of holding does too?
No, the bag of holding is actually just...
It's a little different.
A big space.
Yeah, so the bag of...
In that area.
Yeah, so the bag of holding... The portable hole is fine, but the bag of holding, if it crossed over, would, like, basically throw up everything inside of it.
It's the same thing, though. It's an extra-dimensional space.
I thought that's what it said in its description.
Well...
So you just wouldn't be able to open it in that space.
Hang on, let me...
it just makes it where you can't retrieve items while in anti-magic field space.
Let me just double check.
It doesn't shoot everything out. Because of it being a suppression, not a ending of the effect, it would just make it to where you can't pull items out or won't eject everything.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to access the extra-dimensional space, but it's still a really bad.
Well, the bag of holding is a little bit different from the portable hole because, like, if you rip the inside of it, it, like, releases everything into the, like, a weird pocket dimension. But, let's see.
So, what I'm finding so far is no rulings on it with 5e. They go back to 3.0 and 3.5, and rulings on that where it counts as more of a opening to a pocket dimension for effects like
I'll just make it easy and just say you just can't access stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to make things difficult. I actually asked that question because I was curious. I was like, hey, wait, what?
I was in the middle of some good RP too. Bad timing, man.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Wait till the RP's over.
Back to what we were doing. I'll say, yeah, just to make it easy, we'll just say it. Yeah, just couldn't access. So what are you guys doing, Donnie and Theo?
I kind of lost the momentum on it.
Yeah, I put my armor away and I'm gonna.
Theo was saying, I'm just gonna jump over myself, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, not be carried. I'll make the checks and stuff myself because I'm still super dexy without armor.
Alright, so you're gonna try to do... Now, do you have a fake leg or just a fake arm?
Just the arm, and I have no arm right now.
Alright, so you took it off. So you would make acrobatics checks if you were trying to balance to get across. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you too.
So is Ivor himself like he normally is, or is he still in the anti-magic?
Ivor, he looks like himself again.
Yeah. I was gonna say. Well, no, carry on.
Theo, are you taking that 10?
I'm gonna flash of genius it.
Alright, so like,
14.
You flash genius. With a 14, you would indeed be able to do some balancing. Hop, 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 hop.
Do I need to make another check for this one?
Unless you're jumping it. Which I think you can, because it's only like a 5-foot jump to get to here.
Alright, yeah, I'll jump it.
Alright, so you kind of back up, whoop, launch yourself across, and you are in the anti-magic, which I don't know if that does anything special to you.
I've put away everything that it affects, so I have 10 intelligence, and 1 arm.
You feel like your mind has slowed down quite a bit.
Molasses in February. Just hear Theo muttering that to himself over and over.
Yep. So how are you going to get past... oh, wait, that's right, you got the rope. So you see that there is a rope that's been set up that will help you navigate to that final area.
Am I still in anti-magic?
At that point, yes, you are.
As I see you approaching, I will move. I was trying to give the professor some space, but I will scoot.
Alright, so yeah, when you step here, you feel normal again.
Reach in the bag, pull out the armor, and put it back on.
Alright.
Eyes decloud.
Do we want to take a quick 5-minute break? We're about halfway through. Let's... Go ahead.
In the spaces that we have, and see if we can all smush together to fit into it. So, just be attempting.
Yeah, you can all fit.
Right.
Although, Donnie would still be in the anti-magic field. You notice the axe is very quiet, and actually your magical axe feels like it's a lot heavier now as you walk through here.
Donnie runs and attempts to jump from there to there.
Honestly, Donnie...
yeah, that would be an easy jump for him. As he just comes leaping over. Smashes
Donnie,
down.
you may want to switch spots on me. Your axe might be able to sense something.
Yeah, it's been quiet now. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, if we switch, it might have... You'll have to deal with it in your head again, but it might be able to sense something around.
Now,
Can
Theo,
I
you
stand
stay,
over here without, like, because
Theo,
again,
you stay out of the
spots are 5 feet. I assume there's actually enough space for me and Theo to be over here.
So that would require a bit of a balance or acrobatics
But we
check.
could technically be in the same spot.
Yes,
right?
you could. Unless you're fighting, you can have multiple people in a 5-foot square. You're not all 5-foot blocks.
Our tokens being on top of each other,
Yeah, that's fine. You can say you're both in that 5-foot space. But yeah, let's take a quick break and use the rest.
Okay.
Right.
I've been traumatized by a walk around a corner.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Hey, you are talking to somebody who's completely dependent on magic for everything at this point.
I was willing to carry you.
Yeah.
His dignity is also dependent on magic.
Yeah. And because I turned one of my smith tools and 2 thieves tools for a bell. The only tool I have is my magic item tool, so if I'm in an anti-magic field, I can't even do any like tool checks either.
Well, had a moment, all of our
Yeah.
bickering finally having a chance to be a little friendly with each other, which was nice.
Gotta see Theo outside of his shell. The bad place.
While other people are getting restroom breaks, I'm gonna go grab a beer. I'll be right back.
Wait, is Ivor back in human form?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, Theo completely missed him being in other form.
You literally did.
He already knew. But he wasn't here to have that revealed. Haha, I'm not in trouble yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
you were
think the
down in your head
professor's
in your own little world.
the professor's gonna put 2 and 2 together.
Gonna put 2 and 2 together? You mean the class-related stuff?
No, there's just Theo's been covering something for a while.
Yeah,
Hey,
now,
hey,
You
don't
two are
put the addition or subtraction sign in there. She doesn't know which one it is yet.
You
It could be subtraction.
are not in the clear. You're clearly in cahoots. Don't even. Don't even.
the Discord URL. What the
Count
fuck?
your way out of this.
Original. Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah, sure does.
Yeah, so if you click on the show original.
Yep. Well, out of game. It's an I as opposed to an L.
Oh.
But there you have it.
I thought it was.
Did I misread my infernal, apparently?
Unless the commission was done incorrectly, which is possible. In that case, we're gonna, whatever character that is, it's an I now.
It looks like you a little.
I appreciate that. That was definitely part of the intention.
That's what I thought you were saying, David, when you were commenting about it. The infernal. I thought you were saying when you recognized the infernal that you recognized Ian and.
Oh no!
I'm so happy that you're able to finally reveal that art.
I'm pretty. I dig that art. Yep.
I need money so I can commission some art from them.
Yep. She has not emailed me back in a couple of weeks now, so I don't know what's going on with her.
What's your character supposed to look like? Teddy Roosevelt.
Got him.
Steampunk Teddy Roosevelt.
Arcana tech is the term I like to use more than steampunk. More smooth and like
Arcana tech.
Tech
like
stack.
less of the brass and roughness and steam of steampunk, more so glowing, pulsating light, more of an alien smoothness to it than what steampunk would be, or more like Iron Man than hardcore steampunk smoothness to the edges.
All right. Well, what do you all want to do at this point?
I'm casting that
Bicker.
now.
I want to email my artist and express some frustration with my necklace. Oh man.
Ivor, what happened?
Okay, hold on. Let me get back to roll 20. Okay.
See, he's about to bite her lower lip off.
What's wrong with your necklace?
Oh, nothing. Oof. Yep. So it's always pretty straightforward about that. I just had a little glass shattering moment with Beldani. He pulled back the curtain on a thing that I wish I didn't know. But we're here now. David, I should say, not Beldani.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I would rather know it than not know it. I'll respond and say, well, hang on. Are you within? No, but I can reach into the space that Betha is occupying. So when Theo asks what happened, Zalia looks like she's pretty pissed. I'm just gonna reach my arm into the space that Betha is occupying, which I imagine will nullify the magics that cross the threshold.
Yeah.
Did them correctly.
So, you had the reveal happen out of your control, and Zalia is reinforcing why you wear the fake face.
Perhaps let's not push those buttons at this exact moment.
Delia stops
born that
casting
way.
and looks over at Theo and says, "Are you seriously suspecting
hey.
that my problem is with his actual form?"
You two were not as close before this adventure started happening. It was more so you two coming at each other and me forcing y'all to be around each other.
Well, that just shows how very little you know, Theo, because Ivor made me a promise a long time ago not to lie to me, and clearly he was lying when he made it. And now I'm gonna go back and start the stupid ritual over.
What ritual
I'll
are you
just
doing?
say, he walked across just on his own. I had to convince you.
Yes, because mine isn't make my skin look different. Mine is very not good. Ivor, you're still the same person. Like I said
Who
before.
are you?
Thank you, Donnie.
Much as I appreciate your support, perhaps this is a conversation we could have in a more comfortable environment. Shall we?
What's wrong with here? Donnie starts doing a workout.
It's a bit cramped, if you ask me.
Yeah. So since part of the space where the hut would occupy is in the anti-magic field, how does that work?
It's actually should be enough.
Just the area in the field would be suppressed, so part of the hut would be opened.
But it would still.
That's what I thought.
It would like close around it like a smushy balloon around it, though, right? I mean, you still couldn't breach the edges of it. It's not like open.
I would probably say that if they went in through the spot that was suppressed, they could enter.
Can
Good
I
luck.
determine the shape of
Good
the
luck to them
dome?
getting
though?
here, though.
Because the anti-magic doesn't actually cause the spell to reform. It would just cause it to act normally, except in the places where it's being, suppressed.
But I should be able to shape the dome in any shape I want, right? It have to be.
That
I think by
I'm
definition,
unsure
the
of.
dome-
I'd have to
It
read
does
on the
become
spell.
a dome, but if there's not enough space for it to extend out in all directions, it would fill to form.
Yeah, that would be my thought. That it.
So
I would think like, if it hits a wall or something like that, it will like conform to the wall. But the anti-magic field isn't like a physical
It's not a
restriction.
wall,
it just stops it from doing its thing. Yeah.
Yeah, just the area where the anti-magic is, just basically no magic happens there. So that would leave an opening. The only thing you could really do is like...
I'll cast it on top of where I am now so that it wouldn't... Or, like, I'll put the center of it so that it conforms to the wall up here.
You could do that. So you could put it so the bottom of it is here, and it would only give you those 4 spots.
Yeah, and then we can all smush in on top of each other.
Right. If you were to cast it where you were originally going to, then this That would give us 5 spots instead of 4, because this spot is outside of the anti-magic field. Bethas is the only spot that we're in right now that isn't.
That's not what we're saying. We're
I
saying
think her
if I cut
concern
it
is that she
below
wants it
like
to be
that,
closed. Yeah.
it would be cut open like a watermelon with a chunk out of it. So
Gotcha.
I'm casting it higher so that it won't be that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you're going to put it up here, I believe, right? That's what you're doing?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. So you're casting you're casting the sphere or
Tiny
the
hut, yeah.
tiny hut there. And you're just going to try to wait here for a night?
Yep.
All right.
Do you have to be in the... So the hut really is
no one
just...
else.
Protection.
The hut is just for cover, right? Like you don't... It does not itself confer the benefits of a rest. It just
No.
is
Correct.
for protection.
It's just protection, yeah.
Yeah, you don't
Also,
have to
Betha wasn't in your last battle, so if
I
anyone
have
doesn't rest, yeah.
here.
All right.
Does it eliminates sound, right? Like you can't
No.
speak through it. No?
No, yeah,
I can hear
you...
you outside of it. I just can't see you. You
Yeah,
can
it's
see
just-
out and
it's-
hear out. I can hear in.
It's just opaque, so yeah, it's just like a one-way.
And magic can't pass through it. Magic
Gotcha.
effects. Yeah.
Oh wait, everybody knows. Theo's going to try and poke at where Ivor's horns should be, but don't look like they exist right now.
Yeah, you just like...
You'd probably poke them.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know how you would observe that in a finger, though. Maybe your finger bends.
Just feel it.
Feel it hit something.
Are your horns sharp?
I'm not poking where the tip should be.
Okay.
Just the tip.
Like he sharpens them every night, and like,
Okay,
it's like one of those knives that cut silk.
Sorry, Ivor, that's been on my mind for a long time.
I give you just like... How would I describe this look? I give you like a... I give you like... it's a disappointed father look. I just look at him like... Really?
You looked at my fake arm whenever I first got it.
That's fair.
Alright, so time is being passed. Is anyone doing anything in here during the time that you're waiting?
Smoking on my pipe, like, quite actively. Like...
Same looking at Z.
I am not... I'm specifically not looking at Z. I'm not, like, turned away from her, but I'm not... I'm, like... So, obviously, we're in pretty tight confines here, so that you physically... There's an
You two
amount
are
of...
shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, so I'm trying to give her space in the limited amount of space that we have, so I'm just very focused on smoking my pipe.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like being in an airplane row with somebody that you really don't want to talk to, who wants to
Who's smoking a pipe?
You don't want them to start a conversation with you. So I'm like faced away with my book. I'm looking through my spell book for what to, I'm going to spend a lot of time doing that.
Delicately avoiding bumping elbows on the armrest.
Yeah.
And I'll say that it's actually, depending on how long, I would assume we spend enough time here that it would become relevant. But after about, well, I don't remember the last time I would have done it, but certainly after no longer than an hour, the illusion would drop itself, and you would see me as I was in the anti-magic field, because I have no reason now to reapply it.
Oh, look at that pretty face.
Alright, so
I will step in.
Betha would cast level 5 Goodberry.
Alright, so you cast Goodberry using a level 5 spell. Sadly, it does not improve at all. A couple hours pass.
I would cast it. I would step over here and cast it and leave the Goodberries outside the magic field.
Also,
Sorry,
if we're waiting and stuff, I'm going to ritual cast Detect Magic so I can get some more information about these runes and stuff around the door.
Alright.
What did you not
Z, I
include
know
it?
you're mad right now, but if if you're able to ritual cast Identify, we might be able to figure out some more about this before we try poking at it.
I don't know if she's gonna really look at you, but she'll nod and then she'll cast it.
Thank you.
Alright, well, with detect magic, you would detect magic coming from the runes on the ground as well as the door.
What kind of school?
They are both abjuration, I believe.
Alright. Let T know that.
I'm gonna also ritual
Yeah, both
comprehend
abjuration.
languages. Does that give me any additional information?
No, you don't think the runes are actually a language.
Okay.
Would these look like the same kind of runes as the Dwarven runes?
They look like it might be some kind of ward.
Well, would they have the same kind of structure to them that we've seen from like the glyphs of warding that have been left by the rune masters and Guybalt's seal, stuff like that we know have been made by the rune masters?
Actually, yes, it would look similar.
I'll point that out to Z2.
Hey, PM. Like the calendar says? The calendar says it's 3 p.m.
No, I just haven't changed it yet.
Okay.
I was letting you all finish before I pass some time. So a couple...
I just wanted to record what time I cast the good runes.
Oh, yeah, that would be probably around the start, which would be 3 p.m.
Okay, so we're starting our rest at 3 p.m.?
That's when we kind of put up the dome, so I assume that's when we were starting.
Yeah,
Okay,
we would
but we can
save the
still
dome and
benefit
stuff
from
for
it?
whenever the long rest starts.
Yeah.
So we would finish the long rest at 11 p.m. and we could still benefit from it? I thought we had to wait longer than that.
You get the long rest at
don't.
8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's when the long rest
Okay,
happens.
then
You
I
can-
would cast Good
sleeping.
Berry at midnight.
Okay, yeah, sleeping doesn't... Like, you could sleep for as many hours as you want. You have to sleep as part of the long rest, but you don't get your
Right.
power recharged till that time every
All right.
day.
He's not going to cast Good Berry until midnight at least. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And I'm assuming the dome didn't actually come up until we started the long rest,
No,
correct?
it comes up and I recast it.
Okay.
Yeah, she's putting it down for defensive measure. Donnie, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was going to kind of went a little while into this after we passed through the magic field. I would go to Dumax and say, "Did you miss me?"
It was nice and quiet, and now it's not.
I could just throw you back in there. You could stay there forever.
He says, an eternity with no Donnie. He says, no, you're fine. I was just kidding. It was a jape.
That's what I thought. You like me.
Well, let's not
You
go.
like me, just say it.
Let's not go that far.
You like me.
I've learned to put up with you big stinky orc.
He likes me. Donnie looks at everybody like, Dumax likes me!
Well, a tool and its wielder should like each other.
I'm gonna make it weird. Alright, so time is passing. At about 5 o'clock, as you're all kind of waiting, you hear what sounds like some kind of magical explosion come from the other side of the door.
Oh, fuck me.
And we have not completed the long rest then, right?
No, it's only 5 o'clock.
Oh,
We
okay,
would have
yeah.
could have had a short one by now if we wanted to, but we had just had one, so.
If
Yeah.
there was an explosion, I really want to knock on the door.
Were there... How many short rests have we taken today? Do we still have more?
Well, you are plus 4 to your proficiency bonus, right?
Correct.
So I want to say you took
Maybe
like
2?
2, yeah.
We've done 2 so far.
Okay, well then I'm gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm
Remember, if worse comes to worse, I only have 3rd level slots with it, but I can cast Catnap on some people.
Well, I think at this point we've succeeded in the short rest anyway, so
Yep.
I don't know what catnap would
Oh, okay.
do anything. Because
Well, no, it's just something for
Yeah.
If shit goes off.
Yep.
So yeah, you hear, like I said, some kind of magical explosion come from the other side of the door.
I will stand at the ready.
I've see that Faitha did give you some heals a while back. Just checking since you're rolling hit die. Yeah.
Oh, I did not see that at all.
Sorry about that. I didn't want to
Thank
interrupt
you.
the RP,
No.
so I just put it in chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, 2,
It was
4.
only a level 2, yeah.
Okay, so just the. Okay, hang on. 2, 6, 8, 13.
13, yeah, yeah.
Are we still in the time range from the 8 or the
No.
boost? No? Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Well, I don't think so, because I would have cast it when we woke up, and it only lasts 8
Remember,
hours.
I do have the hourly spell effect to record that stuff now.
Yeah, but that note wasn't there when I cast it, because that was like 2 sessions ago.
It was whenever we woke up. We wake up at 8 a.m. and it is.
And then we spend 5 sessions with constant combat.
Yep. So, but I do believe it's on now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
That doesn't bode well for me either. Okay.
I'm
Thank
under
you.
100.
Well, there hasn't been any combat this
I
session
actually
yet.
didn't know that you needed healed, Theo. Sorry about that.
Oh no, I'm back at max. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because remember, especially if we're about to take a short rest, if I haven't bandaged you guys, that's almost free heals, so.
Well, we took a short rest.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I could have healed them before the short rest, because I have plenty of bandages right now, and it doesn't even take magic, yeah.
Anyway, I am standing at the ready, about face at the door, because I don't like that.
Does it sound like an explosion coming at the door, or just it happens to be something happening on the other side of the door?
It sounds like it happened on the other side of the door. Doesn't sound
Not
like
like the
something
door
was blowing
shaking.
up the door, no.
Okay.
Things go quiet after that. About 5 minutes pass, nothing happens, and you'd still hear movement in the room, and as I said, kind of a shadow.
Should we talk about what it might be on the other side of that door?
How heavy
Isn't
do the
that obvious?
footsteps sound?
What's your perception?
Well, Donnie, how heavy do the footsteps sound?
My perception is 20.
So with a 20 for hearing, it sounds like probably a medium-sized creature with boots.
About our size, Theo. Wearing some kind of boot that sounds like it has a pretty hard heel on the boot.
So dragon in disguise.
Is something trapped in there? Or someone we never...
Could knock on the door and see if they talk.
Maybe we should finish our rest first. Betha whispers.
I think we should wait until after we've got our facts.
I think we should smash it.
Not yet, and if there's something trapped on the other side, we might not want to smash it. We want to be able to close it back in if possible. Albeit, you could probably fight it, but it's safety for all the civilians up top.
No problem about it, but okay.
What I wonder is if it's something that's hiding in there and trapped itself in order to keep safe, or if it's something that's been trapped in there by something else.
Right. If these wards are meant to keep it in or keep others out.
Precisely.
I want to go in more now.
Well, do you want to go in or do you want to keep trying to rest?
No.
Oh no, not now. Got to let everybody top up.
All
He
right.
now wants it. He doesn't want it now.
So at this point, as time continues, you start hearing what sounds like either magical spells being cast or some sort of magical effects, as there are strange noises now coming from the room.
Are we able to make out the language at all, or is it too muffled?
It's pretty muffled. It doesn't sound like chanting. It more sounds like as if a spell or magical energy was being used. And
wait.
the light in the room seems to have increased a bit.
This definitely seems to me to be more likely to be something that is trying to keep things out rather than trapped in.
Perhaps, or perhaps this noise we're hearing is it trying to escape?
Presumably, whatever
Honest,
has been here a while, and you would think that it would have exhausted.
Presumably, but we don't even know what's on the other side. It could be that there's another door from that.
True.
just something to consider. The group's ran into 2 doors so far that had runes by the rune masters sealing something inside or keeping the door closed. We opened both those, and both times something bad came.
My friends, I have the distinct feeling that something extremely dangerous is happening on the other side of that door. We cannot allow it to continue. Time is of the essence.
But do you all have the strength to oppose something dangerous
I do not.
without further rest?
I will tell... fuck. I'm gonna tell Tinder to cast Dispel Magic on the door.
I have no spell slots.
Let me and Donnie
I
get
think
up
he did
front
that in
at
his
least.
mind. We don't know he's done that.
You don't.
So
Yours
he
tucked
would
under his
say, do you want me to cast it on the seal or on the arcane lock?
Whichever way you think is more likely to get us in there.
He says, well, the seal could let your friend... but the gaseous form wore off.
Yes, I'm no longer in gaseous form.
He says, well, if I did the door, only non-outsiders, from what I can tell, would be able to pass.
Non-outsiders. What do you mean by this?
He says those with that are not native to the plane. Myself, Beldani, he looks, or he kind of says, I'm not sure about you. Were you born here?
I don't remember.
He says, I'd be curious to know if your blood would keep you out, but that I'm pretty sure that marking is to keep things like demons and outsiders from entering the room.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I trust your judgment in this moment. You seem to know more about what's going on in there than I do.
He says,
Do you think that a creature that could not pass could still affect things on the other side? If I were to stand at the threshold and cast spells into the room, would it work?
He says, not generally. Whenever you make circles of binding outsiders or protective barriers to keep outsiders at bay, it will also keep their magics from going through. Generally speaking, he says. Or else you run the risk of demons you summoning being able to affect you with their magics.
True enough.
Do barriers like that... Oh, go ahead, Lee.
But you didn't actually. Jarvis pointed out you didn't actually answer when I said that I cast Identify. Was I able to identify several discrete spells being Arcane Lock and whatever that circle is, or like?
Well, so you could tell that the spell on the door is probably an Arcane Lock. I don't know if you can identify spell effects. I thought you could only do items.
Well, I know she's been able to do something to identify the seal and the labs that did the same thing.
All right.
That
Well,
wasn't on a check.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was Arcana. I'll say that you would probably, if you were examining... go ahead, give me an Arcana check, because I don't think I ever asked you for one, now that you can see these.
Can I make one too?
Yeah, sure. Because when you came over here, I don't think I ever asked for one. So you'd be able to tell that the door has an arcane lock on it. As for the seal...
Would there be more than that? Because I have Arcane Lock as a spell, so I would recognize that pretty handily.
Yeah, so you would recognize that then, that this is just an arcane lock on the door. And you would probably, with a 14 and a 15, not know exactly what the runic thing on the floor was, which Tinder said in Ivor's mind is probably some kind of seal to stop outsiders.
Okay.
Or planar creatures.
Tinder, can you dispel them both or just one?
I can just do one, he says, at least now.
And if we dispel the If we dispel the door, then some people could enter, but if we dispel the barrier, then nobody can enter. Correct?
He nods. He says, arcane locks, from what I know of them, have to be taken off by the user or have to be dispelled.
No,
the
they
door.
can also be dismissed with a knock spell. Would he know that?
He may
Knock
not
will
know
dismiss
that
the
then.
person. Okay.
Well, I think that I would know that you had said that you could do that, but not until we've completed the rest.
Yeah.
So I'll tell Tender to dispel the door.
Alright.
The lock?
The
arcane
arcane
lock,
lock,
yes.
okay. That one is much easier anyway, because the other one he'd have to make a roll. So he complies using Dispel Magic, and there's a poof from the door.
Shout out to Donnie. Donnie?
And you would all
Alright, it's you to
recognize
be-
magic
Johnny
being
Smash.
cast as the imp
Wait,
appears
but-
for a
Here.
moment.
But I don't.
The door doesn't just appear; it just unlocks.
Yeah, the door is still there. Just there's a click.
What have you
Right.
done? I'm gonna scramble up and look at Ivor.
There's no time. Donnie, open the door.
Donnie opens the door.
No, Tony, don't open the door. I don't have any. I have no magic.
Get behind
Wait.
us.
What? Get behind you? Are you
Get
mad?
behind
I
us.
don't-
Alright, so Donnie, you push the door in.
Professor, you're still protected by the dome.
Yeah, well, the dome's gone now because I just had to get behind them.
Alright, so as the door opens, you see what looks
Fuck this
like
guy.
some kind of magical laboratory and a familiar face.
I was gonna say, do we recognize him? Yeah.
He turns towards you with smoke coming from his eyes and mouth, and he says, "You, what are you doing here?"
I could ask you the same fucking question.
He says, why do you continue to plague me? What do you want?"
Is
What
that
do
the
you-
dragon?
No,
that's,
it's
With him the last time we encountered him, like he told us his little life story.
It
Now he seems very different.
Now
Oh, the
he's
Bodak.
doing
yeah,
something. Yes.
it's the Bodak.
Oh, okay.
It's the guy that you got angry at me for smashing last time.
Eh?
And he
As
says,
the conversation begins, do I find that I can or cannot pass the threshold?
you cannot.
Okay.
Was there any problem with me passing it?
No, you're not an outsider. I think Beldani and Ivor are the only ones who can't pass it.
And the imp.
Yeah, and the imp.
And
And
Beldani runs headfirst into. he sees the boat and goes to charge and immediately
Not
just.
quite doing that, thank you, if you haven't noticed.
I think he said
I did
Beldani.
notice. I did notice,
Oh,
Donnie.
Beldani.
Beldani's like, ah,
Yeah.
pff, oh.
Because he saw you cross. He had no reason to expect that he couldn't, or he didn't understand, the difference, what it was. Because Ivor, I don't think, shared his conversation with us.
Nope.
And I should still
Um,
have detect magic going on right now.
Zayla, did you say Nettle wouldn't be able to pass? Are familiars from a different plane?
I did say that.
Yeah.
Yes, 'cause he's
They are
fine.
face spirits.
Her face.
Are they? Oh, I didn't know that. All right. Yeah, so Beta had you. It's only an action for her to summon, so she had pulled out her familiar, but I guess I will have it stay on this side of
You
things.
ever see like a bird crashing into a window?
Ah!
What the?
Appreciate that happened to Bell.
Boom!
Terrible.
And falls to the ground.
All right, so I will. Yeah, it'll flutter out here, I guess, if I go in.
So yeah, the Bodak sort of looks at you two as you enter, and he says, "Why do you continue to follow me? What do you want from me?"
Are you the ones? Yeah, what are you doing? Are you doing bad shit in here?
Bad shit.
While
What
they're
are the,
asking this, can
So
I ask?
before we continue the conversation, can you set the scene? What
Sure.
exactly are we seeing?
So
from a,
you
environment?
would, sure, like as you walk in and he speaks, you take a look around. You would see a couple of things in here. One of which you see a couple of powders laid out, which look like components and some arcane symbols drawn on a piece of paper. that look like Runemaster magics. You would also notice a fiery symbol, again looks like Runemaster magics, on the floor. At the back of the room, you would see a small pile of gold, 2 chests, an armor rack, and a weapons rack. It looks like a small treasury area.
No religious symbology anywhere clearly obvious?
You would see... religious. What would you see that's religious?
Specifically thinking either ornaments to, oh god, why am I blanking on this name right now?
Orcus.
Orcus, yeah.
No, probably not.
Be funny, you come in here, see tear symbols everywhere.
That would have thrown Donnie for a loop, but not seeing Orcus symbols will give him a little bit of a moment
Now,
of pause.
Lou, I should still have detect magic going from ritual casting it. Would I be able to pick up any of the magic coming
That was
off
like
of?
hours ago, though,
Oh,
wasn't it?
was it?
Yeah, because you
I thought I did that when we
spent
started
you
listening to
spent
the door.
a couple of
We did.
hours in the
We
thing.
did, but yeah, it was hours ago because
Yeah.
Ivor did
Sorry,
this-
time is weird for me.
Yeah, you would. It would be. It's been 2 hours since you did the detect magic. That's when the explosion happened, and that's when Ivor got rid of the barrier. So yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, go
Can
ahead.
I ask? Can I, as the door opens and this conversation begins with Donnie and Theo and Cordis, can I ask Tinder if he recognizes what Cordis is trying to do in here?
He would say, it looks like he might be trying to summon more of the demons of Orcus. Though I don't know for sure.
While this conversation is going on, Beldani is going to take a regular crossbow bolt out of his pack and just try and, with sleight of hand, toss it across the threshold to see if items
See if it goes.
can pass through. I can't, but can I? You know. I
So you try to
throw
manipulate
something
an
through?
item to throw it through. It looks like it would still be deflected. As it leaves your hand, it hits the barrier.
Interesting. As
So.
as I see Beldani do this, can I try to? I just want to. Well, I'm not as discreet as he is. Never mind. I'm not trying to start a fight. We might have one, but I'm not trying to start one.
Lou, with an 18, do I also think he's been summoning? Because that conversation was...
So... No, when you look around, you think that he may have been doing something magical, but you're not sure he was summoning something. And you're kind of surprised that you see Runemaster magic in here, which it would mean that either he knows Runemaster magic or it was here when he got here. But you assume he's been here for a while.
What do you mean by I see magic? Do I see...
You see, like, the symbols, like, scribbled on the paper that you recognize as being symbols from your encounters with Runemaster magic.
I don't know if she can see the papers.
Oh.
I can barely see them.
Well, the area is
can
lit
see
up.
them.
There's a light in the room.
I mean, I see him.
Oh, you mean because she's back
Door
there?
open?
Yeah, I guess if you're back there, you can't see very well from back here. So I'd say you see, like I said, the Runemaster magic's on the floor. Dwarven rune magic's on the floor. And that would probably be about it. But it's hard to tell from back here exactly what he was doing or what he's up to.
Well, you seem very angry seeing us again after we collected your father and helped you. What are you doing?
Just collected my father. What are you talking about?
Oh no, it's another duplicate.
So, there's more than one of you, and one of them so much nicer. Was your father Orbrow?
He gives pause. He says, "How did you know that? Who are you?"
Hang on. Please stop whatever you're doing. Just stop. We need to talk. genuinely, we're running into multiple of people down here. We've been working with another you who's been helping us fight Dracolich and led us to your father's bones, which we collected and are going to give a proper burial. You don't know us?
He thinks. He says, I know that you've been trying to kill me. You've been stalking me for, well, weeks now. Ever since the exploding skeletons.
How long have you been in this place?
He says, I have been down here. How long has it been? I've been down here about 3 days now. As he looks kind of cautiously at you all.
And what are you doing with this rune master magic?
Give me a persuasion check.
Sorry. Well,
Crap, I'm not a flash of genius.
2. He seems to get a bit annoyed, and he says, I don't have time for this. Just leave this place. Let me finish what I was doing here. I need to figure out what's going on with the shadow magics and illusions.
My friend, that is exactly what we have come here to do. There are strange things happening in this temple, many of which pertain to what we can perceive and what we can identify as being related to time itself. We have seen you exactly as you are, but you do not seem to recognize us, which tells us that there is at least more than one of you, and this same thing has happened with other individuals who are not you, a man named Hollowhand and others. There are very, very strange things
And your father.
here. And your father, yes.
He's
And
a nice
all
guy.
we seek to do is understand whatever it is that you are doing. All we ask is that you stop it for the moment so that we can have a more peaceable conversation regarding the strange things that are happening here and whether or not we can stop them together. Certainly, 7 minds are better than 1.
Give me a persuasion check.
Yeah, I don't see any fucking things.
Finally, Ivor gets to be the one making persuasion.
I was just waiting for a moment to chime in.
Oh.
Yeah, boy!
I mean,
So he kind of looks at you, considers what you said. He says, you all are, where are you all from exactly? He says, I never really got a chance to talk to you much, as the first time we spoke you descended upon me, trying to end me.
damn straight.
To be honestly, whenever we see Bodek, we think follower of Orcus, and not good runnings with them.
He sighs and kind of looks down, almost a bit of shame to his look. And he says,
ran into the other you. He explained you don't quite follow him anymore.
He says, I did once follow Orcus, long ago. But who is this other me you speak of?
We think it has to do with the shadow magic and illusion magic you were talking about. Ivor and Professor Zalia might be able to give more insight to that. Are you able to temporarily take down the barrier so the rest of us can come through and we can close the door back?
Do I have your word you will not attack me?
As long as you don't try to attack us or summon demons.
He nods and would kind of wave his hand, taking down the barrier. You would, you would see, like, it looks like he dismisses this.
And
Azalea's
just
going
had
to put her
confirmed in his
hand
head.
on Donnie's shoulder as she moves forward.
So I take that you can use Rune Master magic.
He says, yes, I was once a rune master.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I wanted a source to learn that so much.
So as he, or as you enter the room and he's saying that, you would see one of the symbols on the floor start to glow.
What's that?
He looks over and says, I don't know.
Where is this symbol at? Is in the pentagram?
Yeah, well, it's not actually a pentagram. There are several what look like dwarven rune symbols there. As the symbol glows, he looks at you and he says, "What are you doing?" With a bit of concern on his face.
Nothing. Is this your room?
He looks at who and says this?
Kind of at the group.
Okay.
Come across this, or did you make it?
He says, "I made these," and as he says that, there is a flash from the symbol.
Oh.
And a demonic creature appears. He says, "What are you doing?" Give me initiative rolls.
And you guys wanted to trust him again.
I don't think.
Can we do an
I
insight
don't.
to see if he is genuinely confused?
Sure, give me an insight check.
That's a good question.
Faith, any chance you're close enough to?
Yeah, I can see him.
Lots of
I-
16s there.
Betha says, "I got him." So Betha, what would you get off him?
Holy shit, 27.
So the rest of you don't really get much. Betha, you would feel like he has a lot of distrust for the group, but you don't feel like he is being dishonest or trying to deceive you per se. Maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe not being fully honest, but not deceptive.
Do I have time to share anything before my turn in initiative, or do I have to wait?
At this point, we have to wait.
Okay.
So go ahead, everyone, roll initiative. And
As this creature materializes, I would assume that it is radiating an aura of some kind.
do you have detect magic?
No, just I can see by the token that it is a Nabasu.
I think it takes them an action to actually start the dark.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
Fuck that guy.
he has not actually. He just basically appeared, but yeah. Let me double check that actually. All right, no, never mind. So as soon as he appears, the darkness would spread out from around him. It's not
Dang
actually
it.
an action.
You're welcome.
And I think that was a 10-foot radius.
No time for comments.
No time for comments, Dr. Jones.
All right.
All right, so the first person to act is Beldani. What do you want to do? You can no longer see you can't see Cordis or the thing anymore, I don't think.
No, but I know where they both were.
Yes, from neither of them are stealthing, so you can hear them.
I'm gonna walk over here, position myself next to both the demon and grab Cordis by the arm and sort of snarl at him. If your next action isn't to strike this demon down, you'll find my blade between your ribs.
Oh shit!
Badass.
Fuck yeah.
All right, so you're trying to grab him?
Yes.
All right, give me a athletics check.
My oh so strong attempt.
He doesn't really want to be grabbed, so he's going to try to slip out with acrobatics, which he's not great at. But he is definitely not going to do it that time. As you do grab him, he goes, ah, seeming annoyed by the fact that you just grabbed him. So that was your attack. He is now grabbed. One of your hands is grabbing him, and I assume the other hand has your blade.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
And sadly, I can't hold my bonus action because I could offhand attack with it, but that is going to be my turn.
You
Like
could
I
try
said-
it. I just don't think that you can see him very well.
Well, your your
no, 'cause
offhand is grabbing him. You don't have a second weapon right now, right?
Right. No, what I'm saying is I could attack with the other hand, not necessarily
Oh
my
yeah.
offhand, but I can't hold my bonus action. I want to give him a chance to prove himself, so I will just take end my turn and wait to see what he does.
All right, Zalia.
Zelia is going to use her entire action to shout, while the stupid, pig-headed, arrogant, ill-thought-out, and start swearing in very, very colorfully and draconic as she stomps her way out of this room. And that is my action.
I love every time she gets
Get
mad,
him,
it's
Donnie.
automatically draconic.
Theo.
I'm a punch.
So you light up your thunder gauntlets and start punching.
Disadvantage, correct?
Yeah, because you can't see him. Ha! 17, I think. Hang on, let me double check. 17, no, that would not strike, unfortunately.
All right, I'll try again.
Alright, you take a second swing. No, 11 would not strike either, as this thing is moving around somewhere in the dark in front of you. Just anything else?
That's it.
Donnie.
So,
Axe says, well, this is a fine pickle.
yeah. So
You can sense him.
Can I roll insight on dude's reaction to this guy?
Didn't you roll that already?
I did not.
No, Beldani and
Oh.
Initiative.
Betha did, but Betha couldn't speak yet.
Beldani
Yeah,
and
you
Beta.
can. I mean, you could roll insight to before everything went dark because you saw what was happening. You would get the same thing that everyone else got. It didn't seem like. Well, he seemed surprised when the demon appeared, and he seems very wary of your group.
Okay, I will go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 to here. I will go ahead bonus action rage.
Alright.
Sorry.
Alright, so yeah, you circle around using Theo's distraction to gain flank.
Yep, and with blind fighting, I have perfect vision and can see him even in darkness.
Alright.
So I will go ahead and take a swing with the dumbass axe.
Alright.
Dumbass axe.
So you swing and crit, landing
Fuck him
a
up.
nice, very solid blow.
Let me get this all right. So that is 24 total damage on that, and I want to make sure I get this all right. It's been a while since I critted. I think I got another bonus here.
So 24, and you get to double your radiant damage.
Yeah, but there was something else I wanted to just double check.
Oh yeah, don't you get the critical or
He did.
brutal
He did. Yeah, he rolled it.
Yeah, was that in there already? I didn't know.
Yeah. See, there's brutal critical, slashing critical, rage.
Oh, yep, there it is. Yep.
It's all in there. So yeah, it's
I wanted to make sure
24.
yeah, it was the brutal critical that I wanted to make sure was rolling. But yes, you're right. So divine fury. So there is the main roll plus another d6.
So 32, 35.
Yeah, 35 total damage.
Alright. The creature screeches angrily, turning towards you, getting ready to counterattack.
And so we will take a second swing.
Okay.
19 to hit.
21 would strike as you cut him a second time.
For a total of 20 damage.
Alright, so you land another nasty hit, getting the creature's attention as it gets ready to counterattack. No.
And I will actually move to here using the last of my movement to threaten, kind of look over at the Cordus and say, I don't want to have to kill you next.
And he says, "You said you wouldn't attack me, and you brought a demon in here." That's it for Donnie Ivor.
Alright, I'm gonna do the same roll. Nope, I don't know.
Wait, he didn't see it pop out like we did?
Oh yeah, no, he saw it. He was like, "What the?" as the thing appeared. Then he got mad.
He was pretty vocal about it.
Yeah, I think he's either surprised like we were, and so he assumed we did it,
Or he's bluffing.
He's playing dumb
Yeah,
because he did it. Yeah.
To be fair, it did not happen until we stepped into the room. So,
right.
Anyways, I am going to sever. Well, first I'll say, you know, at a reasonable volume, I will declare it's an Ibasu, and then. I mean, I would assume this. I mean, definitely Donnie knows, and presumably other people have a guess. But just in case they don't know for sure, they know now. And then I will circle around the opposite side of Donnie. And
So Tinder would say in your mind, "Do you still have the crown? Could we capture him?"
That left with the Dracolich.
No,
we picked
it
it up
didn't.
before. I just don't.
No, we have it. It
Yeah,
stayed
remember-
behind when they left.
Yeah, we
He teleported away, but the crown stayed and just fell to the floor.
It did. Somebody grabbed it, but I don't recall who.
I think Zalia put it in the bag of holding.
I think the professor has
That's
it.
our normal MO.
Okay, so that was fairly short. I'll respond then as I'm walking around, and I'll say to Tinder, "Do you think an Ibasu is worth the crown?"
I was speaking of the other one, Cordis.
Oh.
Fuck. Tell the professor to put the crown on the bow deck, and then I will use.
I don't have the crown anymore. We used it on the.
So we
it
used
fell
it.
after.
Yeah, it fell to the ground. I thought you all took it afterwards.
Yeah, we
I don't.
definitely
Maybe
did.
I forgot who picked it up, but
I
I'm
think-
pretty sure we said we dropped it in the bag of holding. Maybe it's in Theo's bag.
It was there to be picked up. Yeah.
I think that we collectively assumed that somebody picked it up, but I don't think that anybody specified. So
No,
it's Schrodinger's crown. It's in everybody's bag.
It exists,
nobody's
but it
bag.
doesn't exist. It's somewhere in
I
reality.
can tell you this: Besa never picks anything
I
up.
quit.
She's
I'm
already
done.
at
I'm leaving.
capacity. So
Yeah.
We would have
I
definitely
wasn't-
picked it up, and it would go into Z's bag because anything that isn't determined for somebody goes into that bag of holding.
that's what I assumed.
Alright, so let's assume it's in Zalia's bag,
Yep.
then that's fine.
So then I will have.
crown. I am leaving. I am done. I quit.
What? What did you say? Did Donnie just say he's leaving?
No, it's because of the short.
Sorry, that was
crown.
Ray reacting to Schrodinger's crown.
Fair enough.
So then, yeah, I will tell Tinder at his earliest convenience to tell the professor to put the crown on the Bodak's head, and then I will cast Primal Savagery on the Nabasu. How far? 5, 10. No, nope, nobody can see this. Okay. Nah, it's not gonna wait. Oh, that is
23 is not gonna hit what?
I was looking at the
25. Well, you're at disadvantage, aren't you? Or can you see
I'm
in
not.
the darkness? That's right.
I have
Yeah,
shenanigans.
specialized.
25 would strike as you claw the creature from behind. Doing 27 acid. Good roll.
Jesus.
So it now turns angrily towards you.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think that I have any other things.
And
don't-
Zalia,
I did
will-
like 50 points of damage, and it's mad at him.
You did.
for
Oh,
the
yeah, you did
time
swing
for the
twice.
time being.
Then I will just continue my move.
It's
We'll
not
say that-
super smart. It's more just going in. Like it was a big hit and it was
reactionary.
reactionary. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, it is kind of smart. Maybe it'll go for you.
Who knows?
I'll think about it.
He'll roll it down.
It's fair. I just was giving shit.
Yeah.
So
For flavor, I'll say that after I slash it, I'll use the claws to I'll like slide across the ground with them. Now that I am my true self, and I'll end my turn.
Alright, so
Here.
Zalia, you would have a message in your head that sounds like the little creature. Say, use the crown on the Bodak, your enemy Cordis. And that's it for Ivor. Betha.
This little shit
All
is
right.
all chaos.
So first off, like, this has all kind of happened within 6 seconds, but she saw the look on Cordis's face when the demon materialized, so she would call out and say, I'm thinking he looked as surprised as we did when this guy showed up. Okay, see, I'm doing something like Southern, like Donnie was earlier. Anyway, sorry.
Everyone's going Sling Blade.
Everybody's a Southerner. What?
Okay, all right.
Garber's gonna kill all of us by the end of this.
Also, so do I understand that there's a cloud of magical darkness around this guy?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, you see it.
Obvious.
I just it wasn't represented on the map, so I just was making sure that I remembered that correctly.
Can you not see it?
Correctly. Oh, I don't see an aura.
That's my bad.
I don't think you can see any of us right now.
But I know that Donnie isn't affected by this. I think
there we go.
Betha would know who would be bothered by this. And I honestly, as a player, I can't remember. I'm feeling like Donnie might be okay with the darkness. Can't remember. Anyway, I feel like Betha would know, but what?
For sure. You definitely, I would say you would have no reason to know if Ivor is bothered or not, and I don't think that
Beldani's master isn't working. Whoops.
I know Theo is at disadvantage, and I know I can't see a thing, and Zalia can't see a thing.
At least for as long as I have been with the party, it has not been obvious to me that Beldani is okay with magical darkness, knowing that there is a difference between it and regular darkness.
And okay, all right, I'm gonna cast daylight, and I'm trying to remember. Do I have to see the point that I'm casting it on?
Probably.
Let me look it. All right, let's see what it says.
No, just
from
a
a point I
choose.
choose within range. I am going to choose Theo's fake arm because I don't know. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Well, and I think that for just point of order, and this comes up often because so many spells say that you have to be able to see the thing. In the rules of spell casting, it does dictate that you have to have a clear path to the target.
Yeah, line of effect.
Yep.
Also, you can't
it's
cast.
It's a moot point anyway, because I don't think it's going to work.
I was gonna say you can't cast it on something that is carried by someone else. You can only cast it on something. If you cast it on an object, it has to be something you're carrying or something that is not being carried or worn.
I'm wearing it.
It cannot be worn or carried.
You could choose a point just inside the darkness, right?
Shield holder, no one that isn't being worn or carried.
The only thing is, let's see, if you choose a point.
Well, it says an object you are holding or one that isn't being Yeah, and moves with it, so I can choose one I'm carrying.
One
you are. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Not
All
one
right.
that's
Fine.
up to
I
you.
will put it on my continual flame ring.
Nice.
So now it's 60 feet.
So
there's shit in here.
The
Sorry, I didn't mean to make that complicated.
Daylight spreads into the room, and let me check something really quick.
It says it overlaps with an area of darkness created by a spell of 3rd level or lower.
Yeah, that's what I was checking.
Oh.
I'm gonna say it is probably good enough, and the aura is suddenly just blown away by the light.
All right, that
creature looks very angry at you.
I will back up. And that's all.
I'm sorry. Betha's like,
Really?
uh-oh,
sorry.
That's an angry-looking thing in there. Anything else, Betha?
No bonus action for me this turn.
All right, so the Nabasu goes. It's going to look at Betha.
Oh God.
And its eyes just light up as its mouth opens wide. Give me a charisma save.
Okay. Oh fuck.
Oh, good thing.
Whoops. Whoopsie.
Also, did you all see that I put out aid like when y'all were chatting with the Bodak before the demon showed up?
So it's going to be on, Theo and Donnie.
Well, I put it on Betha as the third because I didn't know if the others were going to be able to get into the room at the time I cast it.
So it drains you of hit points, does 23 points of damage, and that's drained from your full hit points. So your
All right.
max goes down, and you see it encircled with a shield, giving it 23 temp hit points.
Oh, okay.
It's then
Right.
going to
20 of that was my aid, by the way. Just
yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you lose aid, then yeah, you just go down to whatever minus 23 would be.
It
But
only took 3 off my max.
it's then going to turn towards Donnie, screech
Hold up.
at you, and it's going to claw. Did you reckless? No, right?
I did not. I just got a natural crit.
First attack is a 30 versus AC.
Yeah. No, actually, no. Yeah.
Full of it. He does 15 points of slashing with his first claw, and he rakes across you.
7.
Yeah, with the second claw. Actually, when he sees he only does 7, he's going to turn towards Ivor and slash at him now. He sees you kind of just growl and resist it. Ivor, 22 versus AC.
Yeah, that's a hit.
All right. Oh, wait, this is a bite attack. Sorry, not the other one. 22 versus AC for the bite.
Yep.
Oh, rolled the same number. 35 piercing. As he bites into you and does a nasty wound. That is it for him, though. Next up is going to be Chive.
He's not doing anything right now.
Okay. Next
Well,
up,
he can't, because he can't do...
He can harrow.
Yeah.
he can harry, but I don't think he has flyby, so he would have to stay or he'd get an oppie.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could oppie fish, but that would probably get him
Yeah,
killed.
why not? Yeah, for me, he only lasts an hour. It's not like incense and stuff like it is for Zayla. So sure, let him harry the demon.
Alright, so he flies over. The demon snaps angrily at him, but he is distracted for a moment. Next up is Beldani.
Did the Bodak get a turn?
Sure, I'll put the Bodak. The Bodak is seeing you all attack him. I don't know if there's much he can do.
He probably heard Betha shriek out her observation too, and might understand that the group kind of misunderstood, or the group is thinking that he brought this demon while he might be thinking we brought it.
Betha, give me a persuasion check at advantage, Betha.
Okay. Oh, that was perception. I'm sorry. Persuasion would be -1, so
12.
There's also
no, it'd be 7 and
So
1.
he would look angrily at Beldani and say, "Let go of me." And he doesn't really have a weapon he can use on the Bodak, or not Bodak, on the creature, but he might. I think he's going to point to one of his runes on the ground, one of the ones that didn't flash and summon the demon, and clench his fist, and there is an explosion of acid from it. And the Nabasu is going to make a check. Saving throw.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm picturing, like,
save.
this fist, and then, like, he opens his fingers, and acid flies.
So, unfortunately, the Nabasu does resist it. You can tell, actually, by the way he's glowing, that he probably has magic resistance. So he has, which mechanically means he has advantage on saving throws against spell effects. But he does take some damage. 23, so he takes 11 acid, and yeah, like I said, the Bodak looks angrily at Beldani and says, "Let me go!" And that's it for him. Beldani, top of the round.
I will turn to the Bodak and say, "Your life is spared for now," and turn and stab at the Nabasu.
So you release the grapple on him?
I do release the grapple on him.
Okay. And you stab at the Bodak, or not the Bodak, the Nabasu, with advantage. 30, do you want a crit fish? Okay, 30 would definitely hit.
Or 36 damage.
Alright, he is now looking at you. Did you do necrotic in there?
Yeah, 5. It's 9 piercing, 5 necrotic, 22 sneak.
Well, sneak is both, but okay, no, he doesn't have any necrotic resist. Never mind. So he would take 36 and look very unhappy with you. Although he took 23 temp, so that would be 13 damage, and his temp would go away.
And then I will bonus action disengage and step around behind the Bodak in case he gets any ideas about trying to run away.
Okay. Betha, did you take your damage? Oh yeah, you did because you had the
Yeah, I
aid.
did because I had to adjust my max. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
That is my turn.
All right.
It looks like I'm full, but technically my max is reduced.
Yeah. Zalia, what are you gonna do?
Nettle's gonna fly by, and then I'm going to first I'll cast Toll the Dead on the Nabasi.
Okay. I think Betha, usually you cast your aid when you first get up, right?
Right, but it had already expired today, and I just recast it when we were talking with the Bodak before he lifted the runes in the floor. It's way up in chat.
Yep.
I also put it in your new note.
Okay, gotcha.
This one also
less than a minute has passed.
Yeah, also this was level 5, and the previous one had been level 6, but I don't have another level 6 spell slot, so.
Oh wait, so when did you cast it?
When they were talking.
Seconds ago. I cast it.
Oh, you cast
ago,
aid as soon as the door opened?
Yep.
No, it was when the door opened, but before he lifted the threshold, which is why I didn't put it on Beldani or Ivor, is because I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to get into the room. So I put it on Donnie, Theo, and myself because I thought we might be able to get into the room.
All right. So the Nabasu is going to attempt a wisdom save. At advantage, 22, he would make it and resist.
Okay, he still takes half damage.
So he takes 11.
And then I'm going to move in here and lean over this table.
You jumping up on the table?
I guess. And with an item interaction, I'm going to hold out the crown to Beldani.
So this guy, actually, when you jumped up on the table, Beldani, he says, "You're going to ruin my ritual. Get off of there." As you're like kicking around his like magic powders and shit. It's like, hey. I don't know if you care, but that's what he said. So, Zalia, you jump up on the table with Beldani, and he goes, ah! As you are now kicking around his ritual stuff as well. And he's like, what is wrong with you people?
It's like he's going into someone's officer's studio and like
it's a desk. Why are you standing on my desk, you two?
I'm holding onto the desk, but I'm not standing on the desk, so I'm just sort of kneeling on the desk. Like
you just kind of like yank yourself up there and just kneeling on his powders and magical stuff, just all over your knees. Theo, what are you doing?
Is already.
Say to the Bodak, honestly, we've helped undead before. We're rough at first, but you get to love us over time, and then go to punch the Nabasu.
Not sure if love is the word, but
agreed.
Okay, so 20 would strike. So you get him give a nasty punch, doing 8 points of thunder, which
has disadvantage if it attacks anybody other than me.
Okay.
And then second punch.
21 would strike it again, do another 8 points, and it does look wounded at this point. I forgot to say, actually, when Beldani hit it, it looked wounded. Or looked wounded.
Awesome.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Donnie.
Seeing Theo kind of go into his blur mode, I'm going to go ahead and recklessly attack him, since it would just be a straight roll against me at that point.
Alright.
I like how that works.
28 would strike with the first.
It might have been There was a flyby from
Yeah, you're
Nettle.
getting advantage from the flyby.
Just
Well,
Theo would
I
Theo
would
no.
have gone reckless anyway.
Theo would have gotten 1.
No, I gave it to
Nettle would have.
I gave it to Beldani. I did give it to him. Remember, I
No,
said
There
you're
were
crit
two.
fishing.
My flyby.
Because Chive did
Chive
one,
flyby
and
and
then
Nettle flyby.
exactly.
Oh, I don't see Nettle on the thing there.
Nettle acted on my turn.
Oh, well, it might be good to put him on just so I can remember, but that's fine. So
She did say though after her turn, she did say
Yeah.
that's what Nettle was doing.
Yeah, I may have
I mean,
missed
it
that.
already hit. It would just be the potential for a crit at this point.
Yeah. All right. So Donnie, you swing and land a hit for 14, 19 points of damage. And second attack.
Yep. That's kind of low.
15. No, that would not be enough, and it would slip out of the way, screeching at you.
Yep. Bonus action surge.
Oh, is action surge a bonus action?
It's just
No, it's a free action.
Yeah, I thought it was
free
a free
action
action.
economy. Yep.
Use. It's not even a reaction. It's just something you can use.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's free action.
Yeah, it's
action.
not a
It
bonus.
does not require a
I don't
bonus
know.
action.
Yeah. Sorry. I just say I don't know. I don't even have bonus. Like other than rage, it's like my only bonus action, so it doesn't even matter. So yeah. Anyway. So third attack. That's better.
Yeah, 20 would strike. So you cut him again for another 20 points of damage.
And final attack.
Oh, well, that's right. You were reckless.
Hang on.
So
Oh,
30.
but it's reckless, so 30.
Yeah, so 30 would strike.
Yep.
Doing 14 damage. All right, that's it for you.
That is it for me.
All right, Ivor.
I will scoot down 5 feet and employ another primal savagery with the flank.
All right.
Will
No, 14 would not be enough, and he would dodge out of the way.
I will angrily say a thing in Infernal and end my turn, I think.
Now all the
so-
demons just come out of them.
Actually, at the end of your turn, you would see a bunch of points of light appear in the air next to you. And a stream of magic missiles would strike the creature for 25 points of damage. And he dies.
Huh. Somebody told me they were out of juice, motherfucker.
The group is safe for now. What do you all want to do? He would be
Did we all
yelling.
see those missiles?
Yes, appear basically kind of like next to Ivor.
Oh, is it the imp?
You would assume, yeah, because you've seen him cast magic from Ivor before.
And I can smell
Actually-
sulfuring strawberries.
Yeah, I
Probably.
think the only magic he's done so far was a healing word when he and I were in, well, presumably a healing word, when he and I were in another Nabasu's aura, and then to disintegrate when we were also in another Nabasu's aura.
Yeah.
He just cast one other damage spell, didn't he?
I think no. I think it was just disintegrate.
Yeah, you haven't seen him cast magic missile before. So yeah, Cordis is like, get off my desk.
I jump down and I still have the dagger of Asiok pointed at him, and I'm like, explain yourself, abomination. Why did you bring this demon here?
He says, I did not.
Came from your summoning circle.
To be fair, you have all said yourself you've been touched by Orcus. Demons, we've been seeing a lot of them involved with Orcus, and it popped out of magic you have going on.
He says, I was a follower of Orcus. I do not follow him anymore.
If you're not purposely trying to summon that demon, you might be having your magic hijacked. But that did just come from a you thing, not an us thing.
If I may interject, gentlemen, I think it might be a little of column A and a little of column B. By my observations, nothing happened until we entered the room. Perhaps we are part of this equation.
That's true, we have been called a special name before.
You think we're the ones summoning the demons?
I do not think.
Is
I do
Ivor
not think that we have
pacing the room?
I was checking the walls, you know.
Fair enough.
I'll say
Ooh,
I do
armor.
not think that we were summoning it necessarily. No, but I do think perhaps there is a chance that it was drawn to us.
He would say, how many demons have you seen? Why do you think, why would you think I'm summoning demons?
Somebody's summoning demons. Can I do an Arcana check on this whole situation?
Orcus is a big demon thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some stuff up here like armor.
Yeah, now that I've had the thought that perhaps nobody is actually summoning them, but that they are drawn to us, can I also attempt to get a bead on that logic?
You can use a spell slot for detect magic too,
So...
and announce I'm doing detect magic first, so that way Corvus
Alright.
knows.
So hang on, Zalia, you said you were doing an Arcana check for something?
Yeah, the whole situation of the potentially that we might have summoned it through its magic and all that. Like, if I can make head or tails of it.
Well... I
We
mean,
might have triggered it, would be a better term,
So-
I think, than summoned it.
the demons were appearing up in the halls above you, so they had to be coming from somewhere. You're
We
not
just
sure.
saw from its rune, not a summoning circle, but a rune.
Yeah, but I mean, you've seen them just wandering the halls. You would assume they had been summoned from down here. I mean, you didn't see them appearing randomly around you while you were exploring the dwarven
But I don't
barrows.
see a summoning circle in this room.
No, you don't. You don't see. I mean, you see the runes, like the symbols on the ground, the dwarven rune mastery, but you don't see anything that you would think is summoning magic, as far as you know.
So, I don't see summoning magic. I see runes. I didn't see anybody cast anything, but that thing emerged. So
Seemed
I don't have
like
any
it.
sense.
Well, it did seem like it came from that rune, although he's
It did,
claiming
but
that
there
you
was
all
no
did that.
trigger.
So, with detect magic, can I see any conjuration runes?
Uh,
Can I just follow quickly up on
Oh,
that?
yeah, sorry.
When the Bodak was triggering the other runes, did I see him?
Yeah, it
use-
seemed like he did
think he
some sort
actively
of
did that, yeah.
chant, or not. Yeah, he did some sort of gesture to summon magic through the rune, it looked like.
So, with that Arcana check, I'm trying to understand. Do I have any sense of what might be going on here? He didn't appear to be casting anything out of that rune. Would I know of any type of rune that could self?
So, I mean, you're not 100% sure how the Dwarven Rune Mastery works. You know that there are runes that act as traps that activate because of proximity. So there is a chance, he could have set it up that way just because your party walked in. Maybe it set it off. But yeah, you didn't see him do anything to trigger it. So it's hard to say for sure that he's not involved.
Okay.
One thing you would notice, though. I guess we are at 8:30. So one thing you would notice is that the rune didn't seem to go away when the demon came out of it. As far as you can tell, it's still there, whatever it is. Which I guess the other rune is technically still there as well. But yeah, if people have to bounce since it is 8:30, why don't we?
Could you just answer Theo's detect magic?
Sure. What was Theo's detect magic question? Sorry.
Specifically, is that rune giving off what school? Is it conjuration? And we can do it beginning of next session. I wanted to do a look around and see if there's magic coming off of anything else.
The rune that the demon came out of?
Yes.
That one is abjuration.
Abjuration, not conjuration.
Weird.
I'm not convinced that these demons aren't part illusion as well.
This entire temple doesn't exist, y'all.
We're in one of those things on Supernatural,
We accidentally went in the labyrinth.
Yeah.
It's what's the fake Hydra?
False Hydra?
The false Hydra.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Lou. Oh, no, I can't.
Get that shit out of here.
Get that shit out of here.
I've literally sent it to him being like, hey,
Get
Lou,
that
there's an
out of
idea.
here.
That corn out of my face.
I love it. I love it so much. It's a terrifying monster.
Yeah, give me whispers with MVPs so we can wrap. So
I'm just gonna whisper anyone but I.
Yeah, that's fair.
that's fair. So it looks like I think I know. Yeah, it's gonna be Ivor. Ivor's MVP. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
He gets it for the reveal. I have to get to bed though, folks. Sorry to cut it quick there, but I am fading.
Have a good night, Gray.
Good night, Gray.
Yeah,
Have a good night.
Hi everyone. Hope you all had fun. We will continue the mystery next time.
Done.
So, we're talking to the real one now.
We don't know that we are.
Who knows, dude?
We
We don't know anything down here.
It's the false
No,
Hydra.
no.
Bum, bum, bum.
Now, I do think this is the real. Oh God, I gave
Why
you
would you think that?
ammunition to
There's
kill us with.
no...
I think that because the only time it's talked about seeing us before was outside of here, above in other halls. That's the only time it remembers seeing us, not whenever all the stuff started going wonky, which makes me think it hasn't seen us since then, which means real one came down in here and we chased after it into
And
this.
this is the one, like, when we chased after them initially, it did go down this fucking hallway. So, like, yes, that there's a real chance that, like, this is actually the Bodak. But as far as, like, anything else, like Hollow Hand or fucking anything else, I'm not sure that anything is what it seems down here.
We set fake Hollow Hand off with a fake Draco Lich. Did they just try to go to the jail and poof out of existence for a bit?
That'd be fucking crazy if he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take the Dracolich with me,
and
and then like his fake existence
It's
just
the false Hydra.
stopped when he tried to yeet out of
This
here.
is an altered false Hydra. It's completely
If we
fascinating.
put the crown on this Bodak, it's gonna end up back either A, in that room we were in, or B, wherever fake Hallowhand is.
I really want to try talking to him more before we crown him.
No,
I don't
the
think we
crown.
can him.
I don't think the crown will automatically tell. I think it would just freeze. Like,
It teleported last time.
freezes him.
Yeah,
I
it
think
froze
we'll
and teleported.
I think that it will put him in a stasis, and if I had to guess, I would say, well, I don't know. It depends on when he made it. It's either gonna, like send it back to the room, or it's gonna send it to Hollow Hand. If
Also, remember, it is put in stasis, so we can't ask him any more questions. Well, that's on him, and then he's just gonna be pissed once we take it off to ask him questions.
well, he also won't be able to answer any questions. I stab him first, so.
Don't stab him first, please!
We can't ask him
He's
any
shown
questions
regret.
if we don't know where he is, or if he's at the other side of this damned place. I mean, I don't want to put the crown on him for that. I actually was gonna hang on to it when Beldani tried to get it and ask those questions, because we don't know where we'd be sending him.
I mean, I think
Or
at this
who?
point we've actually seen the whole temple now. So there's, well,
think.
allegedly. I'm.
We can offer him a body not corrupted by Orcus too. If it's a chip to put on the table,
No.
targeting chip.
We are becoming Frankensteins. apparently.
Undead robot army already started. Already started the
Hey,
Frankenstein.
buddy.
Can't stop now.
You want a metal body?
Me one day maybe, but yeah, it's
Yours.
if he does regret the whole dealings with Orcus, if we can give him a potential way out, he might be more likely to work with us. Everybody deserves forgiveness.
Isn't it his soul?
No, I think Veldani is like, he made that bed. He's got to suffer the consequence.
He has suffered consequences, though. He knows that his dad died trying to like get to
We
him and
don't
stuff.
know that. He could
It's
completely taken us for a ride.
Baith had unchecked him out. I believe Baith's intuition.
It's the false Hydra.
It doesn't mean that there aren't things that might have slipped our perception, but
False
Cordis,
Hydra.
not Cordis, Hollow Hand and other Cordis,
Who is he?
I think had us pretty convinced.
Yeah, the other Cordis had us convinced too.
No, I'm talking
Nope.
about the other Cordis. This one was okay. As far as Basic could tell, this one was as surprised as we were when the demon was summoned. That's all. The other Cordis we made I think multiple checks on among the party, and we all I think to some extent